What you got over there? Hentai? I checked the TV. It's frozen on the guide menu screen grab of a frantic anime girl holding up way more bowls of soup than is ordinarily considered reasonable. I grabbed the remote and turned it off. Jenna yawns into her paw, setting the pillow down beside her and idly fixing her slightly smooshed head fur. Her expression and general demeanor is visibly distracted, but not by Flynn or by me. Though she does manage a quick smile in my direction when she does focus her gaze in my way. I return the smile, albeit lopsidedly. Half of my face still feels tingly and asleep. So we're dead fucking certain that Duke doesn't know shit then. God damn it. I heard the heavy footsteps of the gala leave the kitchen, making his way around us. He's holding 4 small plastic containers. He gives 2 to each of us, setting them down on the coffee table. The insides are fogged up from condensation with steam, so I can't tell exactly what they contain. Anime, yep. That sounds about anime to me. It looks green, I guess? Flynn sees me gawking and lets out an exasperated puff of air through his flared nostrils. The top container's got Caesar salad, the bottom's got fresh cooked bluegill. Bluegill? I blink at the steamy container. You catch that yourself? Yeah? He perks a brow ridge. And you cooked it. Just for us. The line of questions seemed to give the Gila pause, as if he needs to make sure he phrases his next words carefully. Jenna smirks in my direction before blowing her nose into a tissue. Usually I drop some off for Carl. He folds his arms over his chest. You know, just to make sure he doesn't go into a full-on diabetic coma. His arteries packed with pizza and energy drinks. That's very thoughtful of you, Flynn. Yeah, thanks, man. I give him a thumbs up, to which he just shakes his head. Whatever. Any words from the sheriff's office? Jenna reaches into her shorts and grabs her phone. She taps at it for a few moments before shaking her head. Nothing since yesterday. The person I spoke with at the office said they would reach out to me with any questions or updates they had. God fucking useless. They're so goddamn overstaffed there anyway. How hard can it be to find one fat-ass rich kid in the middle of vast fucking nowhere? Apparently rather difficult. Just waiting for Carl's parents to post for reward money or some shit. I don't think public entities get to claim those sorts of things. Finn scowls at Jenna for a good 4 seconds before turning away, walking to the grand living room window and peering out the backyard. Well, yeah, I fucking know that. Also, hold on. Give me a second. Let me fix my avatar real quick. There we go. It just don't make a lick of sense. No food, cars, or cell phones missing. Nothing valuable stolen and no break-in indications. Besides the scuff marks you made on the way in. Flynn, if I hadn't gone in through the window, Leah would have eventually shoulder-ran the front door down. Flynn holds his hands behind the back of his head, clenching his eyes shut. Yeah. God, what a fucking crazy ass. At least his desperate party attempt helped us to figure out Carl was missing earlier. Ooh. Jenna pushes herself to her feet, walking over beside Flynn. She folds her arms over her chest. So, we briefly skimmed over this yesterday, but with regards to Carl's mental state leading up to all this, Flynn ever so slightly shifts his head in the Fennec's direction. The size difference is stark as they stand silhouetted in front of the window. Is there anything you can think of that would help us out here? Anything to cause Carl to say fuck it and run out into the desert without any belongings, you mean? Yes. Janice answers flatly. He's been depressed as hell, but that's how he's been since he dropped out of college. All that digital art shit he used to do, he hasn't done much of that either lately. Whenever I check my phone and computer, he's always online, just sending me memes and shit all day. Despite my efforts, there hasn't been much in the line of indication he'd be planning on changing that routine anytime soon. I'm sorry to hear that. He sounds genuine to that regard, letting out a quiet sigh. Ain't nothing you can do about it from fancy college land. I finally get my ass off the couch, suddenly hoping that I hadn't left the surface all oily. I think he's been getting high more. He says it chills him out, helps him with the nightmares and shit. Nightmares? Flynn nods. Yeah, it's been going off about how his house is haunted. Says things get weird whenever he goes to bed. Weird how? Flynn is starting to look increasingly exasperated at my continued prodding. It's evident he wants to shift focus back on to the search effort. Fuck, Chase, I don't know. Bumps in the night, creepy children whispers, distant laughing, that sort of thing. Said he only heard them when he was about to fall asleep or was waking up, so he could never investigate. Interesting. Really? You said that getting high was how he coped with this newfound paranoia? I let him sleep over once and my whole room smelled like skunk weed for a fucking week. He slept over because he was afraid to be here, in this house. No, he stayed over because I was plowing his ass. This tone is Latin with sarcasm, and even I find myself snickering a bit at the shock. Jenna doesn't laugh though, meeting Flynn's gaze with an indiscernible expression. The Gila clears his throat, scratching at his stomach. Yeah, he was afraid to be here. I know enough about Carl's family to know that his house is seriously old. His great something or another is the town founder, after all. The place has since been seriously modernized into a more stucco adobe style, but there's some definite history underneath all of this. Growing up, Carl started thinking there were ghosts in the house. It freaked him out pretty badly. So much so that his parents basically begged me to have sleepovers with them during the weekends, and even some weekdays. Not that I minded, of course. Carl had all the video game consoles that were out, and his parents bought him the M-rated games. Got to stay up late with his giant TV, blowing up aliens and running over hookers. I remember he started to become less afraid as time went on, and his parents stopped asking me to come over so much. So, of course, shitbag younger me told Carl a bunch of stories about a ghost bride whom I saw standing outside his house at midnight, and that's how I got to spend my whole 5th grade summer vacation living at Carl's place. The fact that Carl is still freaked out about this sort of thing is pretty concerning. Well, to be quite fair, if I held the mindset that my house was haunted, and saw whatever that was on my phone out the window. She pauses, shaking her head. I'd probably be rather freaked out as well. Yeah, but would you run outside? That doesn't make any sense. You'd think that this place would be more ransacked if this was a fucking kidnapping or something. You don't try to kidnap a fucking ram without getting some serious dents and scratches in the drywall. The idea of Carl being assaulted like this is starting to give me a serious pit in the bottom of my stomach. Well, you did find some scattered plastered dust and marks on the wall near the basement crawl space. Yeah, maybe there could have been like an initial scuffle down there. He was held at like gunpoint or something. There's a look of sudden shock at the direness of my words that flashes across Flynn's face. Anxiety, fear, concern, all expressions seldom seen on the lizard. He quickly stifles them, adopting his usual disgruntled demeanor, emitting forth a familiar grunt in response. Guys, I think we're escalating here. No offense to you, Chase, but I think we might want to have a chat with Jeremy and myself. You can come along, of course. Same to you, Flynn. Despite Jenna's assurance of non-offense, I can't help but feel a little shitty about not pressing harder for information while I was there. I mean, fuck. I want to be a journalist, right? I can't be getting intimidated by childhood bullies. Flynn nods, but only slightly. Yeah, but Chase said he told him the drugs he sold weren't laced. Laced drugs wouldn't result in that image on the phone. Shit, I haven't talked to that flunk ass in so fucking long. You were always a bit too old to get the burnt of his sadistic side when we were growing up. Thought that it was mainly Clint. They all rubbed off on each other easily enough. Flynn pulls out his phone, a rather dated first-gen looking thing from the late 2000s. He pecks at it with his large fingers, walking off toward the foyer. I'm gonna text TJ and Pinball Smasher that we're together and asking around. No need to be more specific than that. Trust me, I wasn't about to tell him we were heading till we were done. Poor TJ. I'll make sure to text him to make sure he's alright. We start to head out as well when he suddenly calls out back to us. Oh! I'm bringing goddamn lunch! It took me for fucking ever to put that together. God. Flynn, I think, is like the most confused character in this entire story. Like, not confused as as like uh, like his identity, but like what his purpose is here. Because like he's only here for the truth, but at the same time, you know, like he has this like sarcastic ego to him that he uses to kind of like, I guess, hide the pain. And this is his way of coping it, but deep down, like he's actually like dead serious scared about this whole situation. Like he is so confused, but I love the way how they're portraying him in the story. Chase sounds like a great friend. Absolutely, I would have Chase as a friend. Are you nervous? I ask, trying to break the silence. Flynn takes his eyes off the road long enough to peer back at me through the rear view mirror, then glances over at Jenna. She's riding shotgun, cradling her fishy Tupperware in her lap so it doesn't spill. I already told you I wouldn't mind seeing Jeremy again. Well, what about you, Flynn? Why are you asking me? They weren't my bullies. I'm not sure if that's exactly true. I have distinct memories of the Tetanus Alley crew calling him all sorts of slurs back in the day. Hell, they started a rumor that he was some kind of sadomasochistic gay rapist. Said rumor somehow wormed its way out of Echo to our high school. I remember there was this whole thing where he got called out to the counselor's office about it. He proceeded to call the counselor a wretched gashed cunt and got 1 week suspension. Holy shit. It wasn't ever clear if any of that shit stuck. He certainly never cried about it like TJ did. Sounds more like you're the one with issues. I frowned. I'm gonna spill bluegill all over your seats. You'll be scrubbing the upholstery with my foot up your ass if you even open the goddamn lid of my truck. Chase already spoke with them. You said you only saw Jeremy, Heather, and Micah, correct? Jenna looks back at me and I nod. Micah. Heard he wasn't back in town a while ago. Never expected he'd turn up again after, what, 7 years? Have you gone by to say hello? There's a hint of teasing in her voice, responding to the Gila's latent disdain for the kid that's evident in his tone. He stole my fucking dirt bike. He stole your fucking dirt bike 8 years ago. Well, he was still kind of a shithead when I visited yesterday. Yeah? I see the back of Flynn's scaly head cant curiously. What'd he do? Well, he didn't do anything to me, I guess. Just seemed like he hated my guts. I tried calling him out on his shit and he wasn't having any of it. He called you a faggot? Of course. He smirks into the rearview mirror at me. Glad to see that this is all so amusing to you. I'm allowed to think whatever the fuck I want is amusing. Are you gonna ask for your dirt bike back? I ask half joking, half trying to break the tension. I did get it back, remember? Little shit dented the fuck out of it and put his weird punk band stickers all over the body, but I got it. Literally had to go to his house and talk with his parents to get it back. Should have pressed charges. Which house was that again? It was the yellow stucco on the end of Jasmine, one of the older buildings that they constructed during World War II. His and mine were the only houses down there that weren't RVs or mobile homes. I believe it was condemned and demolished a couple of years ago, right, Flynn? Flynn nods, treading onto a dirt road. Oh yeah, roof was caving in, electrical was a fucking hazard, the pipes were lead-based. Lead-based? I thought that was banned before then. Major cities did. Technically, it wasn't in the building code until the 80s. Jenna frowns to herself. Let's just focus on the missing ram, aight? We drive in silence for a while until we see some smoke rising up from behind one of the older trailers. Hell's going on? Flynn pulls over. The distinct smoky smell of burnt mesquite pods wafts through the air. It's actually kind of pleasant. Flynn takes out his cell phone, stepping out of the truck and hustling his way over to the source of the smoke. Jenna and I exchange a quick look before following in his wake. The aroma grows stronger as we round the abandoned trailer and make our way out to the outcropping overlooking the rest of the area. There's even a slight apple-like smell mixed in. As we round the bend, I can see a few lawn chairs spread out a crackling bonfire. Some of the chairs have been faded princess print designs, while the others are more the traditional camping variety. Next to them is a fluorescent orange cooler and a portable grill-looking thing that kind of looks like a toaster oven. don't think they got a permit for this. Oh, hi! The high-pitched voice comes from behind, and next thing we know, there's a feline bounding up towards us. Oh, hello. I don't think we've actually seen Heather yet. So this is our first time seeing Heather. Hello. I see Jenna recoil some, the Fennec lingering a bit behind the rest of us. Flynn, meanwhile, looks stone-faced, his hands on his pockets. Hello? I was here the other day, but we had some more questions about Carl, if that's alright. You were? She stares at me for a long moment. Too long, actually. Flynn audibly sighs. Oh, I know you. You're Leo's boyfriend, right? Ex-boyfriend. Jenna chimes in, but seems to visibly regret it as Heather's attention swivels to her. Oh my god, Jasmine, hi! She rushes over to Jenna, wrapping her arms around her in a tight hug. You look really good. Thanks? Jenna doesn't correct her on the name change for some reason. Instead, she very gingerly pats Heather on the back before withdrawing back a foot. I didn't shower this morning, so if it's a wonder, it's true. Heh, neither did I. Astonishing. Where's Jeremy at? Oh, hi, Flynn. Heather waves at him, despite the gala being literally only a couple of feet away. Flynn furrows his brows some and limply waves his hand once before stuffing it back into his pocket. Jer? Oh, I made a joke a while ago and he got really offended and walked off. It was so dumb. Where'd he walk off to? I don't know. Oh, let me get you guys a drink. We're having an Ahoa party. Before anyone can say anything else, she turns heel and scampers off to her demeanor like an excited child. Once we were alone, I breached the obvious question. What's an Ahoa party? Jenner looks over at me and shrugs. Meanwhile, Flynn squints at the land around him, folding his arms over his chest and mumbling to himself. Whose property is this? I thought she lived with her dad, the one that works at the dam. The lizard sucks in his tongue and quickly shakes his head, his question evidently rhetorical. She does seem different, doesn't she? I wasn't expecting the compliments after, well, how she treated me before. Next thing we know, the feline is returning with 3 beers clutched to her chest. Hurry, hurry, hurry! Take them! They're really cold and getting my shirt wet. I blink and quickly step up to take one, kind of awkwardly sliding it from between her forearm and her cleavage. I'm not particularly hankering for a beer right now, admittedly, but I didn't want to leave her hanging. After a moment of hesitation, Flynn and Jenna also take a beer. You guys can have a seat around the bonfire too. I glance over to the bonfire. It's pretty small, only about 2 or 3 feet high. Why would anyone want to hang out near a bonfire during a 90-degree springtime heat wave is beyond me. Some of the chairs are kind of small though, since they're for little girls, and not very good for big boys. She looks up to Flynn, who stands nearly a foot and a half taller than her. The phrasing is so strange, and her smiling gaze lingers way too long. What? I'm fine standing. Flynn shifts uncomfortably. She does know he's gay, right? Yeah, I recognize him. Those are mine. She points to the princess chairs, specifically one with the print of a female cat in a blue dress and tiara, surrounded by chirping woodland birds. Or were. Oh, wow. Also, wait. I don't know why that happened. I don't know if that came up on screen, but my screen preset thing just came on. So apologies for that. That was a bit weird. Do you want them back? No. Why not? Jenna stares blankly at her. Like, Heather, when was the last time you saw Carl? Oh, She scratches herself, looking off to the side. I don't know, you should wait for Jur. He'd have an answer for you, and in fact, I'll go look for him for you. Flynn steps up, his brow ridge furrowed. It's a simple goddamn question I'm asking you, specific like. When was the last time you saw Carl? Heather reels back as Flynn's tone goes more stern, the cat clutching at her own arms. I don't know. You know who Carl is. You blew him in high school. What? No, that was Tanya. Carl's gross. As I recall, Heather briefly dated TJ, not Carl. It was a weird coupling with her being a couple of years older, though I guess I have no room to speak there. She was kind of mean to everyone, so it wasn't surprising that they split. I ended up dating one of Leo's friends on the football team, if I remember right. Fuck him, whatever. Flynn waves off the correction. I remember taking an investigative journalism course freshman year that discussed interviewing techniques used by the police department. It included this big comprehensive list of tells for when someone is lying or obfuscating the truth. The way Heather's acting fits the description of a lot of the aforementioned. Wait, Heather, you're like best friends with Jeremy. Heather still looks like she's about to bolt, but responds regardless. He's cool, but what is that? And he sells pot around here? Jenna looks over at me, seemingly curious about where I'm going with this. Do you, need a plug? Because I don't get involved with any of that. I don't know anything. I quickly shake my head. No, you're around him when he does that sort of thing. Were you there when he sold to Carl last? She shifts her posture some, the cat scratching behind her ears, her whiskers bristle. She cuts herself off, trying to think of the right words. They don't want me talking about this sort of thing with other people. Especially you guys, since you all hate us. I'm supposed to say that I don't know anything, but I do. I'm not stupid. Her voice is raised now, and she's clenching her fists against her stomach. Yeah, I get that, It's totally cool. You're fucking brainiac for sure. Shut up! She screeches at Flynn, the gala covering his earholes with the winds. Jesus fucking Christ. Just ignore him, okay? He just wants to find our friend. We're really worried. Her dilated pupils flick back and forth between the two of us. There's another long silence. Like, Keith? That name again. It sounds familiar. Wasn't Keith the frog guy that was killed by that thing on Flynn's route? Or was that someone else? I forgot. I look to Flynn and Jenna to see if it's ringing any bells with them. I'm not getting anything from Flynn, but Jenna frowns some. Hopefully not like Keith. That's why we're here now. Heather's shifting gaze meets Jenna's, holding her for a moment before refocusing to me. I was eating some apple smoked jerky with Jer when Carl texted that he needed some stuff. He did the deal, but nothing special happened, I don't think. Wow, Demon Fang, I see how it is. You being heckin' stinky. But welcome, the bluff welcomes you, and I am not cute. Bark. So nothing out of the ordinary? Heather thinks in silence for a while. Flynn, meanwhile, bristles the cap off his beer and takes a swig. Clint and Micah had come by later and kept being really weird and pushy. Well, like Clint was? Micah just stole my jerky, but that's kind of how he usually is. Sounds cute, looks cute, must be cute? Absolutely wrong and absolutely incorrect in every way possible. Was she? How? About Carl? I think so. Wait, really? Flynn stops mid-drink, looking on in anticipation, following her statement. Yeah, it was like about the money stuff, which I don't pay any attention to. I don't really use money that much anymore. I'm like aesthetic. Okay, but do you remember anything specific? I think so. I was calling Mike out for the jerky thing, but he just kept ignoring me. Clint kept talking over me, and when I got mad at him, I just started whispering to Micah. It was super rude, so I really remember it well. It's actually been like really hard to remember things lately. Oh, that's all I could think of to respond with. As I look over, I can see Jenna tapping away at her phone, typing something. She peers up only for a moment, just long enough to give me a small smile, a soft smile and a nod. She must be writing all this down. Flynn, meanwhile, is putting in an active effort to keep his mouth shut. He's waiting on me expectantly to continue. Before I can follow up, Heather starts speaking again, this time to Jenna. I don't really remember why we didn't get along, because the name Jasmine pops in my head and it's like, oh, that bitch. But I just saw you now and it's like, it all just seems so silly, doesn't it? Jenna doesn't even react to Heather at first. She shuts off the screen on her phone and exhales, looking Heather in the eye. She doesn't speak immediately, and there's a sort of latent tension in the air. Silly isn't the word I'd use. Oh, a dark look crosses Jenna's face, her tail stiff behind her. Your behavior throughout high school was utterly abhorrent toward me, and I think you know that. Heather's face drops, the cat clutching her arm. I told you my memory's bad, Jazz. She puts on a kind of babyish voice as she says this, looking sheepishly at Jenna. Do you honestly need a reminder? Heather begins shaking her head, but Jenna is already speaking, her tone curt. You were rude to me, even when I did nothing to you, but I figured you were just insecure and left it at that. Then one night you come to me with no one else to turn to, tears in your eyes. You let me know everything that was going on with you at home. From that point forward, I was ready to defend you, to help in any way I could. Short of going to the police, of course, because you begged me not to. It started out as little things, the favors. You're too emotionally distressed to do your homework, so I should do it. You couldn't come to class because of a panic attack, and the teacher wouldn't understand, so I should lie for you. You needed money to see a friend in Payton, so I should give you the money. This went on for some time, until eventually enough was enough. I had my own problems, especially at home, and I just couldn't juggle the well-being of everyone. That is not my responsibility. I told you up front that I was going through a tough time and couldn't do these favors anymore, but I was always available to talk. That wasn't good enough, was it? Despite being busy with your fractured home life and the stresses of school, you still found time to create your elaborate revenge. I can tell what ending you can get now by what's being said here. You already made one of the two choices. If you want to know what path you're on. Oh, okay. So then there's obviously something different between one of these two choices here then. Interesting. Oh, who did the follow? Cairo? Hi, welcome on in. Who's this cutie? Definitely not me. I could never be cute, but welcome on in, friend. The Blep welcomes you. I hope you're doing well. Welcome on in. We're playing some Echo. I've seen your Twitch post on TBA. Oh, alrighty then. Welcome on in. I'm happy to have you with us. Also, I apologize I have not responded to you in Telegram yet. I am so sorry. I'll have to get back to you. I forgot. Yeah, but I will definitely message you back soon. Don't you worry. But bark. If you want a response, call him cute. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, you know what? I have a sign that says so. Yeah, well, come on in, Cairo. We're playing some Echo. Greatest furry visual novel I've ever played and read, by the way. I'm the one person who cared enough to help. Next thing I know, your latest boyfriend of the week and his friends are pounding on my front door at 10 p.m. And what does he tell mom and dad when they open the door? She deepens her voice, putting on a dude bro accent. Yo, I'm looking for Jasmine. She told us to meet out here and get some. So not only did they convince my idiotic parents that I was fucking 5 guys, including your boyfriend, you told the whole school. I had my paw smashed in a locker, was fired from my part-time job, and lost almost all my friends outside of a select few great people. I have been well, Wolf? Yeah, I've been doing good. You've just been kind of streaming lately. And I've just been kind of like being the derp that I am. It's been a good week so far. Jenna looks over, gesturing in both Flynn and my direction. You made yourself the sufferer in that narrative, the one who had mistakenly trusted the weird horny anime girl. Jenna takes in a sharp breath from her nostrils, her composure otherwise completely solid. Adorable Blep? Absolutely not. Grr. No, I am not adorable and I never will be. Or cute. That's equally bad. And you don't even have the dignity to atone for your actions when the chance is standing right in front of you. You continue to lie and manipulate your way through every social interaction to make yourself feel better. It's a perfect... shit. I'm sorry. Now I gotta figure out how to say this word. Perpetuation. I'm sorry. See, I'm a dumbass when it comes to this. It's the perpetuation of this endless cycle of perceiving yourself as a sort of eternal victim. when in reality it's the complete delusion that hurts you and everyone around you. With the way Jenna rattles off point after point regarding Heather's transgressions, it's evident this is something she's thought about greatly, maybe even rehearsed. Heather stands there with this wide-eyed, slack-jawed look on her face. I can practically feel the burning of Heather's cheeks, the shock of Jenna's words settling in and her eyes beginning to moisten with tears. And by the way, it's Jenna now, not Jasmine. No! Heather moans lowly. It's like she's trying to refute what Jenna said, but she can't form the words. All she can do is make this bizarre whining noise. You're wrong. You always have to be right, but you're really, really wrong. Her paws curl into fists as she shakes, indignified. Flynn and I look at each other. Before we can say anything further, she storms off. In the distance, we can see her start running, her arms flailing with a palsy-like limpiness at her sides. I can't help but feel a sort of queasy sensation at the sight. This is what this place does to people. Jenna, meanwhile, just lets out a long sigh. Wow. World's worst fucking psychiatrist. Jesus H. You feel better now? Jenna looks over to Flynn. Perhaps. It was cathartic. I didn't know about most of that. I just thought she was mean to you or something, like standard high school girl stuff. Yeah, must not be nice getting the chance to do that, huh? There was some bitterness to Flynn's words. Probably ain't gonna help us find Carl, though. It needed to be said. Flynn grunts, shaking his head in some disbelief. Right fucking now, though? God damn. Down the hill a ways, the dusty shape of two figures can be seen emerging from the old shed. One of them pauses as he sees Heather sprinting off down the road while the other ignores her and carries on. Eventually, though, the both of them see us and begin making the way in our direction. Well, here comes the gang. He spits on the ground, the faint smell of his venom wafting in the breeze for a moment. I'm guessing he bit that cap too hard. Not all of them. I quietly shimmy my way over to Jenna's side, lowering my voice some. Are you okay? Jenna seems slightly surprised at the question, giving me a light smile. I'm good, Chase. Thank you for the concern. After what just happened, I'm not sure how much I buy that, but I'm not going to press the issue. So what, did you come back with your posse to intimidate us or whatever? Jeremy's dull eyes are focused on me. I'm starting to feel increasingly intrusive, standing next to her bonfire with their beer. This is definitely the sort of shit that would get me smacked down as a kid. Is he here? The smaller bat whispers to Jeremy, seeming to be walking directly behind him as if trying to stay out of sight. No, man. Micah lets out a relieved sigh, and after a moment, the familiar white fuzzy form of Micah emerges from behind the rotund fennec. He's clutching something though, a long piece of a rebar. At first I think he's holding it as a sort of self-defense weapon, but then I notice the hot white ash coated on the end. I guess it's a makeshift poker for the bonfire. Hello, Jeremy. I believe this is yours. She steps up, holding out the beer that Heather had thrust upon her earlier. Her brother doesn't immediately react, and he stares blankly at her for a moment before bumbling over to take it from her. Hey, sis. Man, I ask how you been, but I'm assuming good, right? Generally speaking, yes. Though we are still looking for Carl, as Chase here made you aware yesterday. Jeremy looks over with a tepid expression, the faint outlines of a grimace forming at the edge of his muzzle. Really? Really? Flynn steps up, the Gila tall enough that his shadow falls directly upon the smaller fennec. Whoa, Rockabilly! I don't see you much out here. Fucking wonder why. Micah glares at him from across the bonfire, the shifty-looking bat increasingly agitated by her presence. We told Schizo all we knew yesterday. Evidently not, and yeah, don't call him that. Jeremy lets out an amused noise, though it's clear he's also getting a bit tense, especially with Flynn's looming form. Heather was saying y'all were talking about Carl after the drop all secretive-like. Shortly after, he fucking disappears. You tit dirts want to extrapolate on that? Jeremy lets out an astonished puff of air, turning to peer past Jenna and me. Wow, dude, you really did go crying to your friends for help. I feel a knot starting to form in my stomach, and I resist the urge to clench my fists. I'm just trying to find Carl. He's your friend too, right? Fuck no. Rich Tits doesn't get any love around these parts. Didn't even think the guy had friends anymore after you two left. He points to Jenna and I. Flynn scowls, but he says nothing. Yo, does Mommy Mayor know you're here? Micah's looking up at Flynn now. 'Cause I won't be harassed, bitch. Flynn actually laughs, exasperated beyond measure. Kid, you shut your mouth before I call your parents. I'm nearly 21 now. You can't do shit. Yeah, I can call the sheriff on you for trespassing and unpermitted burning during fire season. They charge you in as an adult. Then why's your faggot ass here instead of them, bitch? Jenna rubs her temple with both paws. Okay, let's put a stop to that. We apologize for intruding on your Ahoa party, but we wouldn't be here if this wasn't serious. This ain't serious to me. Seems like a big joke seeing you clowns back together. Micah, enough. Her tone is so stern and maternal that it visibly catches the bat off guard. He seems surprised that she even remembers his name. Look, let's just have a seat, alright? Alright, sis. Whatever you say. Micah blinks at Jeremy's response, then grumbles quietly. Yeah, whatever. The bat looks over his shoulder before moving to one of the camping chairs and takes a seat. Jeremy does as well. Both seem to make a conscious effort to not sit in the princess ones. Flynn takes another swig from his beer and joins them. I hesitate for a bit, but Jenna beckons me forward. As I sit, the singeing burn from the fire mixes with the glaring heat of the sun above, and it feels kind of like I'm being slowly cooked. It's incredibly uncomfortable, but I seem to be the only person bothered. Well, by the heat, that is. We got some empanadas in the mini oven. Is that an offer? It's a threat. What? Dumbass. Boys. Micah shifts in his seat. He keeps looking to Jeremy as if he's wondering why he's even humoring this. He miserably pokes at the bonfire with his rebar, sparks flinging forth and dissipating in the desert dust. Jeremy, meanwhile, scoots his chair over and peers inside the little toaster oven-looking thing. It's hooked up by what looks like a 50-foot extension cord that goes into the shattered window of the nearby trailer. Yeah, they probably need a bit more time cooking anyway. Now, about Carl. Yeah, didn't want to tell you, you know. He gesticulates toward me. He's been like really depressive to late. I mean, anyone would get that impression if they talked to him a little. I think like once you're so rich you have everything you want and don't need to work, it fucks with you. Life alone ain't good enough, man. Now if you know what's good for you, this stays between us, cool? He looks from Jenna to Flynn and then finally to me. Micah is staring hard at Jeremy. The runty bat's lips thinned over his little fangs. Sure? Yeah, whatever. I suppose it depends. Flynn sighs loudly, placing his face in his hands. We didn't do nothing to Carl direct like. He just kept telling me how he wanted to feel something, you know? Didn't care what it was, didn't care what it did to him. I kept telling him like, nah man, you're too soft for this, but he wasn't having it. So I gave him like a sample bag? I thought you told me you didn't give him anything else. I said I didn't give him anything laced. There's a difference, yo. Plus I figured you would have found his tweaking ass by now. A sample bag of what? Flynn practically growls. Speed. You gave Carl meth. Carl asked for fucking meth? That's horse shit. I don't know what to tell you, man. You must not know him as well as you think. Carl and meth? Doesn't make any sense. Carl got really into the enlightened drug use thing in high school, but he was never on board with that stuff on that hard. Flynn is fuming in his seat, and even Jenna looks perplexed. Jeremy, where are you getting meth? Yo, that's enough questions. Yeah, like, out of respect to your situation and stuff, I thought you should know. But we ain't got anything more than that. God damn it. Flynn's face is pulled into a silent snarl. His eyes are clenched shut. Jenna's just frowning to herself, her phone in her lap. No one says anything for a while. I have a million questions, but I don't think they'd answer any of them. For some reason, the first thing out of my mouth is, what's an Ahoa party? Jeremy and Micah both look at me with quizzical expressions. Something that Keith came up with. Yeah, it means like happy and Masedan or something. Well, not exactly happy. Something more profound than that, I'm sure. Everything has a fucking deeper meaning with him, didn't it? Jeremy lets out a mirthless smirk, the Fennec grabbing a few paper towels before taking the empanadas out and setting them up on a small tray. Yeah, but who's Keith? How the shit do you not remember Keith? Micah looks downright offended. He sounds familiar, I just can't put a face to the name. Well, you're in luck, Muskman. I'm not sure what he means until I see him move to picking up something sitting in one of the half-folded up camping chairs. It's a picture frame with a bunch of different pieces of handwriting on the back. To my surprise, he walks over and just hands it to me. Oh, so that's Keith. Yeah, so this wasn't the guy that got killed. Because Keith... Yeah, because, like, I don't think we've seen Keith, but the guy that got killed the last time was a frog, so this isn't him. In the frame, there's a pretty unelaborate picture of a stone-looking fox guy. Ooh, hi, Bubba's. My dog is sitting next to me now. He's in a ratty lifeguard bucket hat and wearing an oversized hoodie with this stylized-looking eye on it. I feel like I've seen him before, but only in passing. You bring this with you everywhere? Just to the bonfires. Kind of like a super old tradition we picked up after what happened. I know it's like super culty, creepy and shit, but Keith would have thought it was neat. It was all about that whole moral support big brother vibe. What happened to him? The question's blunt and this seems like one hell of a sensitive topic for these guys, but now I'm genuinely curious. He went missing. One day he's here slinging dope and playing foosball with us in that moldy shack he ran at a bar out of, and the next, gone. Nobody knew where he went? Nope. Next thing we knew, Micah poofed as well. The bat looks guilty, squirming in his seat. We didn't expect you to show back up either, though. Same goes to you, I guess. He looks over to Jenna. She responds with a polite smile and nothing more. What's going on here? I hear Clint's voice and I see Micah quickly sit up upright, visibly startled. There they are, look, I told you I didn't tell him anything. Heather is tugging at the weasel's tank top, but Clint quickly smacks her hand away. Clint. Looks like death. Emaciated, disheveled, teeth rotting out of his head. His fur is falling out and pink lesions dotting his flesh. Jeremy and Micah look pretty rough, but nowhere near as bad as him. I quickly hand the Fennec his picture back. We were just leaving. Jenna puts her purse tight to her side and stands up. Thank you for your hospitality, and it was good seeing you again, Jeremy. I should fucking kill you three right here, you little cunts! Get the fuck out of here, now! Go, go, go! I'm getting my fucking gun. I'm getting it! Oh, I think we gotta run. I think this would be a good time to run. Clint stops off toward the nearby trailer, swearing up a storm. Oh shit. Micah quickly refocuses his attention on the rest of us. Yeah, get the hell out of here! I half expected Flint to start shouting back, but instead I look over, and he's already up. The Gila is making a clicking noise and gesturing with his head towards his truck. I'm not a victim, Jasmine! You bitch! I quickly get out of my seat and fast walk to catch up with him, and Jenna does the same. Why did she call Clint over? What the hell? That's all Jenna can say as she shakes her head in disbelief. We hop in Flynn's ride and take off without looking back. Yeah, why did she call Clint again? Truly. What the hell? Jenna repeats herself. She's sitting in the back seat, still peering out of the rear window with the boggled expression plastered on her face. I hear you. What a fucking mess. At least now we know that they were hiding stuff about Carl. I try to shine at least some optimism on the situation, however fake that it is. We came out here to get information, and we did learn that there was some information to be had, so not a complete wash. I don't believe for a titty fucking second that Carl was dabbing in crank. Not saying they're responsible, but they know something. Honestly, I don't believe they have the wherewithal to plan and successfully carry out something so malicious as kidnapping. Flint lets out a long sigh, keeping the truck steady along the dirt road with one hand while the other rubs his scaled face. That doesn't help us figure out what the fuck to do next. We're the goddamn cops. I'm the fucking city clerk. Why am I stuck doing this shit? There's a silence in the cabin, Jenna turning back around to peer in Flynn's rearview mirror at him. Because you're his friend and you care about him. Flynn seethes at these words. That's not helping, Jenna. I pull out my phone, holding my thumb over the display button. Only 50% battery life. I'll have to remember to charge it later. Should I text Leo? Text him what? That you want him to raw you again? Flynn lets out a little huff and Jenna gives the lizard a stern look. What? I mean about what they just told us. There ain't no reason to. It's all pussy willow lies. After a while he sighs, sounding defeated. Flynn reaches out into his pocket, holding up his slightly antiquated looking phone. I'll just post it in the group chat. A quick summary. Okay. And I'll make sure to let him know how sketch they were being. I nod despite the fact that no one is currently looking at me. I step outside into the cool air, letting my feet rest on the hard asphalt of the parking lot. Again, it's unusually humid out, especially for spring where we usually get less than an inch of rain a month. Monsoon season isn't set to start for another 90 days or so. I hold out my paws to the sky and let my tongue loll out, tasting the ozone in the air. It's the closest thing I can get to being in the water right now. Not counting the shower, of course. I mean actually being surrounded in something vast and wet, like a moist blanket that you can let carry you away. Speaking of moist blankets, TJ had been in the bathroom for like an hour, and I really gotta piss. I step away from the high-pitched buzz of the fluorescent outdoor lighting, heading out around the bend of the motel and into the wash nearby. It takes a second for my eyes to adjust to the darkness. The desert at night can look pretty strange, just like the absence of the sun sucks all the color out of the world. It makes trying not to fall into a ditch all the more difficult when everything starts blending together. Once I find a good spot hidden away from any of the motel windows, I turn my back to it and get to leak taking. I make it a concerted effort this time to not piss on myself. If that happens twice in a row, Jenna's gonna start thinking I have a fetish or something. Water sports. Why do they call it water sports anyway? If you're actually into water-based sports, you can't really talk about it with your hobby without the perverts in the room thinking you like piss. Though to be fair, there's much worse stuff out there to be into. Yeah, I never really understood that either. Why do people call it water sports? I just think that that's such a weird word to use. Like even I find that weird, and this game does as well. I remember for the longest time, Flynn had this whole reputation of being into. Oh, that's disgusting. That's gross. I think it started after someone called him a shit pusher because he was gay, and of course he told them that he was and he loved doing it. Then they got all ambiguated into the high school social mill until Flynn was apparently spending his weekends diving into septic tanks. Flynn wasn't remotely pleased when that stigma didn't go away. And of course I thought it was hilarious. Strangely enough, that never got applied to Leo and I, even with all of our PDA. Rat 65 reference? Okay, then most likely I will not know what that is yet until I play it. I guess there's a crunching noise beside me, dry bramble being tread underfoot, and the sudden scuffing of dirt. The noise stops as soon as it starts, and I glance over, realizing I'm not alone. Whoa, what the fuck? I blink. I must have finished pissing a minute ago, but here I am still holding my prick. Micah stares at the aforementioned, before looking back up at me. I quickly shove myself back into my shorts, nearly tripping over myself as I step back away from him. Damn it, where do you even come from? What? I was taking a leak. The fuck you were, schizo. His voice is strange, distant. In fact, he looks completely out of it, as if his comprehension of the world around him is delayed. You were just standing there, staring off into the great dark nothing, cock and paw. Jerking into the void. That how you defeat it? What are you talking about? Why are you even here? Micah points a half-lidded stare in my direction, his fingers wiggling around the edges of his tank top. He's not so much looking at me as looking right through me. I'm a bat and it's night. I can be wherever I want. So you want to... Okay. The voice echoes so clearly in my mind. I can't help but say it out loud. So you want to be here? Fuck no. He sniffs. His answer spoken with a tired, slurred tone. I mean, I'm here because, like, there's dick all over for me out there. Fuck, wait. You're talking about right here, right now with you? I look into his widened pupils and slowly nod. Shit. Micah rubs at his face, pinching at his own lightly fuzzed cheeks, his gaze still a million miles away. He's exhausted, or at least appears so now. Like someone on the tail end of a ride fence on the tail end of a ride on a fierce upper. Yeah, I have not played Route 65 yet. Well, you can't put sleep off forever. Shit, I'm only half awake right now, and that's the worst way to be. It's like, how when you're dreaming, you're flying, but when you're having a nightmare, you're falling. It's always falling. Micah steps back, his heels hanging off the edge of the wash, and I'm sure he's about to tip over into it. Without thinking, I reach out for him, but he seems to lean away from my paw. What the hell am I doing? Don't touch the junkie. I should just get out of here, back to the motel room. Behold! I was shaped in iniquity. He extends his tattooed arms and shows off his wingspan. Before I can say anything to respond to the bat's ramblings, he tips backward like he's expecting someone to catch him. Oh shit! Are you okay? Silence. I start creeping closer to the edge to get a look at him, but a small voice rings out from within. Fucking ow. He goes quiet again as dust plumes rise up from the ditch. Finally, another little grunt. Oh, where the hell am I? Ugh, son of a bitch. As I peer over the edge, I can tell it's about as a good 3 to 4 foot drop. Nothing too dire, but definitely not pleasant. Micah's dazed gaze meets mine and quickly narrows. Ugh, fuck, of course, it wasn't just a dream. I stare blankly at him, wheels turning in my head for a second. Wait, you were sleepwalking? If that's what you want to call it. Did you just have your prick out? I ignore the question. Your dream made you do a trust fall into the dirt. I thought you were tweaking out on drugs or something. If only. Micah slowly pushes himself up to his feet and climbs out of the wash. His backside is completely caked with dirt and goathead bramble. He tries to pick out the stickers from his fur, wincing at each pluck. I thought there was water in there for some reason. He thumbs over his shoulder. There's probably not going to be any in there for another few months. Yeah, fuck, I'll be gone by then. Micah shakes his legs a few times, some more dust scattering to the wind. Having white fur like that must suck in the desert here. If you even get the slightest bit dirty, everyone can see. For me, everything just kind of blends into the brown fur. He squints at the building nearby and lets out a little astonished noise. I made it all the way out to the motel? This isn't making any goddamn sense! Fucking hellfire, man. Shit's just getting so much worse. He shakes his head. He's clearly lucid now, but I don't know if he's really talking to me. You doze off for 1 minute and then everything's an absolute shit show. A cold chill creeps down along my spine. This is all sounding really familiar. Pot helps, keeps the bad vibes down, but a quick fix is something that you never know when it's coming. I've been having something similar happen to me, I think. Really bad dreams, mainly. His gaze snaps to me as if he wasn't expecting me to actually respond to him. Fucking really? No shit. The bat extends an arm out to his surroundings, gesticulating at everything and nothing else all at once while his wings flap about. You ain't the only one, musk fuck. You ain't seen how it's been. It's a real shit down on Jasmine Street. The hum gets bad there. The hum? I frown, unnerved by the bat's words, but not really sure how I should start questioning them. You wouldn't know, after all. You're just having a little fun trip and then fucking right off. Micah says this like it's a bad thing. However, I'm not guilty about wanting to get the hell out of here at the soonest possible convenience. When we find Carl, of course. So, you're gonna leave town too, right? Micah glances over at me. Yeah, you should go soon as well. But he'll be back. But you'll be back. They all come back. Oh, that's creepy. We all come back. What do you want about? I'm honestly not quite sure myself. The words just sounded right at the time. I shrug. I guess that's just what it feels like to me. Not everyone does. His tone is more melancholy, the young bat reaching into his pocket and flipping out an old cell phone for a moment. Looks like one of those cheapo ones that you buy the minutes and text messaging for per usage. Burners, I think they're called. After a moment, I realize who he's referring to. I really, never knew Keith. Sorry he went missing. He stops messaging with his phone, yellow eyes flicking back up to me. You didn't know him and you're not the reason he disappeared, so stop talking like you're personally involved. I feel myself starting to get a little frustrated. I don't know why I'm still here. In fact, I don't know why Mike is still here. He's just lingering about, even after he claimed he came all this way to just sleepwalking or whatever. What was Keith doing before he went missing? This is the point where I seem to have Micah's full attention. He glances around for a moment before stepping forward, lowering his voice to a quiet rasp. What he was always doing, schizo, trying to fix people. He sees somebody who'd be utter shit trash, and next they find their inner spirit or whatever. You know, native shit. He thinks for a second. Well, native light, whatever. Keith was one of those weird kids who read philosophy books at school. So Keith is already dead from what I'm reading here. Because they mention Keith in Flynn's storyline, but he wasn't actually there. He helped us, all of us, of course, and I thank him to bits for it. Screw-ass didn't know his limits. Started getting chummy with the supplier, this big bear bastard named Brian. Supplier. Keith dealt drugs? Bitch, everybody deals and gets dealt in Echo. This ain't a surprise, or shouldn't be, so let me get you off your moral high horse right now. He squints in thought. Yeah, now that I think of it. Wasn't your mom the one that let Sven miserably plow her on for Oxy? What? I can't help it but to be taken aback by that one. No! You saying your mom didn't take Oxy? No, she had back pain issues and took Persuade. But that's it. That is Oxy, bitch. But enough about your whore mom. Fuck you. He huffs. He's so full of shit, just like before at the bonfire. I dip my paws into my pockets and turn to leave. I get a couple of steps toward the motel before I hear the bat's rasp from behind me. Hey, don't be a bitch. I keep walking. The shower is probably freed up now, and God knows I could use it. Not just for the water, but the time alone. No, wait, seriously, stop. Chase. I hear a frustrated sigh. Chase, please. I need to talk to you, like, serious like. I turn and if his sight is any good, then he can get a good view of how done with the shit I am from my expression alone. Keith tried to help the supplier, turn his life around, all that. I hesitate. I didn't expect him to start talking about Keith again. He saw the goodness in him, etc., etc. Before all this, Keith would always take me out after school on Fridays. We'd go flying in those RC planes we tinkered with down by the river. I mean, it sounds like as fun as plucking pubes to most folk now, but little me loved it. The moment he started getting close to Brian, that stopped. We saw him less until, poof, Keith's gone. No one knows where he went, including Brian, so claimeth he. And I had nothing left here. Maybe Brian is the one. Maybe Carl is with Brian right now. I'm just taking a shot at the dark, but based off of that, I'm also assuming that he's with Brian now. My anger with the bat begins to fade as he looks me straight in the eye. There's something about the tone of his voice that's different. Like, this is actually a matter he thought about for a long time. Micah, are you... I exhale, stepping forward and lowering my voice. Are you trying to tell me something? Something about Carl? No, I'm just trying to get you to whip out your dick. The runty bat's nostrils flare as he steps closer. I cover my crotch with my free paw and he rolls his eyes. Do you want help finding the rich, fat kid? I hesitate at his hostile phrasing, but begrudgingly nod. Any information at all could help at this point. Yes, I want help finding Carl. Do you know anything that can help us? Cool. And hopefully. He doesn't speak for a time, rolling his cell phone in his paws. Don't report anything I'm about to tell you to the cops. I'm genuinely trying to help you here, but I need you to swear to that. Sure, whatever, I swear I won't tell the cops. I lie. Good. Nothing I did is really illegal, but it can be implicating as hell if you don't find your friend. Is this about the meth you guys said Carl was taking? No, that was bullshit. I knew it. Well, Flynn knew it. Like hellfire, I'm gonna start ratting fuckers out in front of everybody. The Hendricks house was marked. Jeremy tipped Clint off that Carl was staying home alone. Clint then brings me on to scope shit out just before midnight at 11. I can see well under the dark and got a good look at their alarm system. That's when I noticed two big glowing eyes staring back at me. I don't know what happened, but there was a flash and the next thing I know I'm falling from the second-story ledge into the riprap. The photo. That was Micah! The flash of Carl's cell phone camera. That has to be it. He took a picture of you before you fell. We found the photo the next day. The bat's lips tightened. Fuck me then. Guess it's good that I'm getting ahead of this. It barely even looked like you, I think. The picture was all distorted. I tried to wave off his concerns with a reassuring tone, reshifting the conversation back to Carl. What happened next? Micah sighed, speaking up again. Next thing I hear is a whole shit ton of thudding. Like, da-dunk, da-dunk! I couldn't move, and I didn't want to start sprinting off while everyone inside was still looking up out a window. So I huddled up in a blind spot, and the noise just kept going for a solid 30 minutes. Then, fucking hell clattered, the sound of wooden boards snapping inside. Next thing I know, the fat ass is taken off into the desert, completely spooked. Which direction? South, I think. Anyway, he holds up his basic-looking cell phone. I gave Clint a call, told him what happened. He started freaking the fuck out on me, cussing and swearing and splitting up a storm. Kept insisting that he needed to call someone, and that's the last I heard of it. Spent the next 12 hours nursing a bruised tailbone in an abandoned trailer off of Route 65. Ah, Route 65, that's another reference. Well, goddamn. Actual answers. Hey, this is all really helpful, Micah, but why are you telling me this? Why are you ratting your friends out to someone you hate? The bat groans aloud, a look of exasperation crossing his tired features. Have you been listening at all? There are fuckers out there I don't trust, and if there's anything to be done about pulling a boat to their asses, I'm down. For Keith. The bat taps at his phone a few times before handing it my way. Give me a number. I'll keep you updated on what's going on. The supplier guy I mentioned will be coming into town. I'll see if I can get some more info out of him and Clint about the ramp. I take the phone, slowly using the tiny button-based numpad to put in my number. There's probably a few ways this can come back and bite me in the ass, but at this point I'm pretty damn desperate for a lead. I just never would have expected it would come from Micah of all people, and willingly at that. And here I thought you hated me. I don't care about you enough to hate you, schizo. I hand the bat back his phone, unsure of how I feel about that response. And if I don't hear about you by the time we have to go Sunday, you should get the fuck out of Echo. His tone is flat, a matter-of-fact statement that he believes doesn't need further explanation. I nod in response, wondering if it's too late to take my number back. Well, if that's all... I glance back to the motel. Micah looks too. Yeah. Yeah, actually, one more thing. Oh? I prick a brow in his direction. You still with that wolf boy, Leo? I remember him getting skittish about him earlier. He's acting nonchalant, but there's definitely something more to his question than casual curiosity. The answer to the question itself is also a complicated one. Not really. Why do you ask? I don't give a shit. He looks down at his phone as he always says this. A lie. Then why'd you ask? He just... I hear he talks a lot of shit. I was wondering if he ever talks shit about me. Micah folds his arms over his chest, staring at his phone screen. To be honest, I don't even recall a time he's ever mentioned you by name. It's the truth. Out of all the Jasmine Street kids, Micah was the only one I never really heard Leo talk about. Figures. What? What? I'm out of here. I'll text you in a bit. The bat turns and heads off. There's something about him that sticks with me, and I can't quite put my finger on it. Once he disappears around the corner of the motel, I take my phone out and tab over to our group chat. Interesting. And now we're at Friday. Every time someone pees outside and echoes, something always bad seems to happen, at least this time. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's good that we finally got to see like that different side of Micah. Because I was just assuming that he was just going to be an asshole this entire story, but no, it seems like he genuinely wants to help, which is cool. I'm a great swimmer, I swear it. A young woman's voice. It's distant but near, like a video with the volume nearly all the way down. I strain myself to listen more closely, and the spoken words start to come into focus. Whoa, where is this? That's doubtful. You're a Yod after all. Man's voice, also barely audible. I'm inside the cabin of a large vehicle. It's rickety, and I have to hold on to something like to keep it from shaking all over the place. I can see two people in the front row. Their silhouettes pronounced, but I can't make out their faces. It's like they're distorted, water droplets on fresh ink. The one on the passenger seat is a woman, a coyote. She has lots of jewelry. Not that I can see it, but it jingles around whatever she moves. That reminds me of my mom. The man on the left who's driving is an otter. He's wearing a hunting cap that's too small for his noggin. Whenever he turns his head, I catch a glimpse of him in the mirror. His face is blurred. The only part that's distinguishable are his eyes, like Oh. I think I'm seeing things from his point of view, even though he's not really me. The cabin behind the two front seats is roomy, like a van. That's Sydney, isn't it? In fact, it feels like there are more people behind me, but I can't look over my shoulder. I'm stuck, shaking around in between the front seat and somewhere in the back, near the cabin doors. Yeah, and you're a dirty species, Dove. The times are changing, and you best get with them. Elsewise, I might need to find myself more sophisticated company, you hear? The woman responds. This is all so familiar for some reason. Deja vu. Jan, you read dirty novels and you eat fast food like a hog. I've heard more of the Masetta with witch doctors who are more worldly and sophisticated than you. He grunts, laughing a little at his joke. Oh, please, darling. Reading a little novella with the word penis in it ain't gonna damn me straight to hell. Second, I got my own income now. You know, a job. You might hear of one someday. I could use the money to make from said gel to buy whatever I want that makes me feel special. Sometimes it's a little romance book at the drugstore, and sometimes that's a large vanilla milkshake with extra cherries. Third and final, I don't think the Masetta have witch doctors. They got shamans. I met one once. He's a very nice old man, about 4 feet tall, pocket size. Oh, Bark, hello, Demon Fang? What's up? Check the mute button. Oh, wait, what about the mute button? Wait, is there something going on with my mic? I mean, unless if you're talking about like the background noise, then unless my shit died, I think it did die. Because my mic, I mean, my mic is still working and I can still hear the game just fine. And I mean, if you're talking about the background noise, then that's from the actual game. Okay, not me. Okay, cool. Okay, there we go. Sorry. Hope that clears up the confusion. Wait, good opportunity? Wait, for what? We should turn it up a little? I mean, I definitely could, but you can call him cute and you can't do anything about it. Wow, you know what? Take the sign and take my assignments while you're at it. See, I don't want to put it up too high, James, because there are like some parts of the game where like the music that they choose is a lot higher than anything else. So that's why I don't want to turn it up so high. But I mean, right now I just have it to half volume, if that's alright. The woman sounds rather pleased with herself for countering all the man's comments. The man lets out a dismissive noise. You met one, eh? What do you do, sell you a love potion? Another chitter of laughter at his own joke. I don't know, hon, you tell me. You reckon it's working? Her tone is flirty, and I can practically feel them both smiling. Oh, I'm outside now, my head's spinning. I'm walking, but my body's not. It's not my body that's moving, it's someone else's. Their movements are slow and deliberate. I stab a pain where the body's left leg moves too high or the joints rotate at the knees. The fur on their arms is ice white, and the muzzle is feline. Some sort of big albino cat trudging one foot after the other besides the highway, caught up in a strange daze. Sepia-tinted memories fill our head, of places that look straight from out of the Southwestern Adventure's frontier quarter. These recollections are his existence, and the physical reality in front of him a fading dream, something that causes pain to traverse. This world is not his home anymore as it hurts him to think that. One of his feet steps upon the pavement, then the other, crossing the lanes to walk directly down the little yellow line down the center. The people he loved are all dead, but he doesn't want to join them. I think things should have sound effect volume turned up a little still to me. Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna turn it up slightly. I mean, there's no audio right now, but I'm just gonna turn this up slightly because again, some music tracks are not really leveled correctly, I think, and they become much higher than anything else, and then you'll barely be able to hear me. So I'm just gonna keep it at I am gonna turn it up a bit just so that you guys can hear the game, but yeah, just a heads up. He just wants them back, as his own senses fail him. The memories in his head keep getting more and more real. Sound into config? I mean, I could do that, but again, it's only for some tracks in this game. Like, the majority of tracks in this game are leveled correctly, but there's some where they're just so much louder than the others. So that's why I haven't adjusted that. They're there in his mind. He could see the stitching in their clothing, the smell of their fur, the chuckle in their voice, the touch of their paws, the taste of their lips. It's such a sad way to be. I'm back at the van. The otter and the coyote are trading glances with each other now. The more brisk personality of the otter seems to be tempered by the coyote, like he's trying not to take himself too quickly around her. Okay, that was weird. Tap sound just died. New one is mine. Gotcha. Okay, so I mean, if my headset is acting weird, then just let me know. The radio is playing something now, something that was there before, but I couldn't quite make it out. It's not music, just voices, drawn out, distorted, and mostly unintelligible. I blame random cosmic rays. Gotcha. I catch something that sounds like a nervous laughter from a high-pitched voice, then a more baritone one that responds with something reassuring. It's okay. At least that's what I think it says. Finally, a squelching noise like squishing soft putty between your paws. The feeling that something is behind me in the van grows. I've been here before. I know I have. But when? No matter what I do, I can't turn around. Even the rearview mirror reflects a distorted image. I could just barely make out something back there. Undulating in constant restless motion, strobing between pulsating flashes of faint red light. There's applause like someone's clapping. The handles of the rearview cabin door seem to shudder and click, like someone is trying to open from them on the outside. But that's impossible. We're moving. It feels like I'm yanked back out to the road again, with the old man walking down the center line. The memories in his head grow more perspicuous as he walks. It's as if building towards some great zenith, or point of total clarity. I'm not sure how I know this. There's a rumbling of an engine coming up from behind, puttering in rhythmic fashion. Again, I can't turn to face it, but I know it's there. and it's getting closer. The engine roars, it's coming right up behind me. This is nuts. What the fuck am I doing? It's the high-pitched voice from the radio. I can hear it now, clearer than ever before. You're doing great, Chula. The baritone voice. That was Leo? The albino older man stops, turning as if he's heard this too. Heavy breaths escape my throat and splay forth, fogging up the windshield. The two lovers exchange a kiss, eyes low. The lovers in the back as well, fumbling with themselves in that same red light. That same red light bathes the entire sky. The cabin doors fling open and I can finally see the person who's been trying to get in from outside. A runty-looking amber-eyed otter stands there, wearing an oversized blue... Oh, that's us. It's me. I'm younger and I don't have the goatee. Somehow I'm just floating behind the moving vehicle as if we were just standing still. The color in younger me's eyes starts to fade before shifting to an icier blue. He shrinks, and as soon as the figure is standing, there's a little boy in his swimming trunks. Him. What does he want? Another shift as he springs about with distorted, jolting movements. The transition is nowhere as near as smooth as the first. An otter in his hunting cap, far too tight for his head. The same blue eyes piercing right through me. Bronson. Mr. Bronson. Sydney's father. Is Mr. Bronson also the one driving the van that we're in? I see no reaction from the blurry figure in the driver's seat, still more occupied with the coyote next to him. He's only there for a second before his face practically tears away in jagged artifacting. Mr. Bronson twists in on himself, expression uncaring as if it falls apart and fades into ragged white fur. The elderly albino's on the road. It's him. At least I think it is. His silhouette is more abstracted. The detail of his features somehow is darker. His form floats there for some time, and I keep waiting for it to shift, but it doesn't. Instead, it turns its head to look directly at me with stark red eyes. They widen, still peering, and I try to step back, but I can't move. Like fluorescent bulbs, they begin to illuminate, blinding me as they grow closer and closer. I hold my paw up just as the old man's mouth opens, about to speak. What? And we hit him. Janice, you okay? Bronson, Mr. Bronson, Bronson, what did you hit? Bronson? Bronson, don't just sit there. You answer me right now. I don't know. Jesus, sweet Mary Christ. Mr. Bronson is despondent while Janice is starting to get frantic. Everything's dark, but I can still see a slight red splatter on the center of the windshield. A large chunk of fur is caught in the wiper. Mr. Bronson steps out of the vehicle, his blurry form flickering into something a little more focused. His clothes are loose hanging, jeans bell bottom, very 60s. I can see the whiskers on his face like they were my own. His heart is practically beating out of his chest. His fur is damp with cold sweat. The fear is electric, buzzing hum which permeates the landscape. Are they hearing it too? That's the hum. That's the hum that the other guy was telling us about. I decided to move with them, seeing from his point of view. Mr. Bronson covers his face, his paws trembling. He can't see anything in this darkness. Ugh. The otter nearly leaps out of his fur, startled by the voice. It's a weak, desperate cry, a gurgling of pain following it immediately after. Mr. Bronson runs to the source of the pathetic sound, Janice getting out of the van as well. It's the stinkiest cutie on Twitch? You are 100% wrong. You want the stinky cutie? That's you, Dex. But welcome on in. The blep welcomes you. She clutches her bag to her side, her high heels clacking against the asphalt. Bronson, oh my god! I see it. I see him. The albino feline is struck, wedged between the fender skirt and the wheelets. A space about a foot wide. He's practically folded into it, legs snapped upward and jutting out the side. Wild red eyes dart from Mr. Bronson to Janice and back again. I can't tell if he's pleading for help or asking why. All I know is that he's in excruciating pain beyond the capacity for tears. Just instant shock. You mad because I'm right? No, I'm not mad at all. You just stinky. And this is not a dating sim. This is a horror visual novel with the absolute longest dialogue that I have ever seen in my life, but it's so freaking good. Images flash before his eyes, and now he's not looking at anyone at all. He's devoid of movement beyond the rapid heaving of his chest. Jesus! She screams. His shoulder's caught under the tire, and he's bleeding. Oh God, Bronson, we gotta do something. I know we gotta do something! He shouts back at her. His eyes are nearly popping out of his head. Jack. Janice gasps as the old man begins to speak again. A look of realization crosses her no longer blurry face as she points toward the back of the van. Get to Jack! Mr. Bronson blinks, then quickly rushes to the back to get his toolkit, flinging the doors open. In place of obscure lovers are a mound of tarantulas burrowing into each other as if trying to hide the newly opened doors. Some are blondes, while others are some of the more standard rust and black color. He does not seem to notice or care about these creatures which flee from his presence, instead diving for his little olive toolbox. I try to step away, but I'm stuck seeing through his eyes now. He flings his tools around, hammers, wrenches, and rebar clattering to the side. No Jack. Mr. Bronson stares motionless until Janice's shrieking voice breaks the silence. What is taking you so long? Get him out of there, Bronson! The otter exhales shakily, then makes his way back to Janice, giving her a blank look. Help me lift. What? I said help me lift! You're kidding me! You don't have a jack? Shut up and help! Mr. Bronson slips his paws under the side of the van next to the wheel, squeezing his palms against the chrome. Janice quickly does the same on the other side of the wheel. On 3. Lift! Mr. Old Man, we're gonna get you out of there in no time. You just gotta slide on free once this goes up, okay? She tries to put on a reassuring voice, but the albino just stares past her with those intense red eyes. 1. Bronson, I don't know if I can do this. 2. She shakes, tears are beginning to well within her eyes. Oh God. 3. The van creaks as it begins to rise up off the ground, at least on this corner. Janice screams at her own exertions, the muscles spasming as her arms shake. I can't! The old man begins sliding his broken legs down the side of the wheel. One of his free paws are grabbing the side of the fender skirt. Low moans escape inside of his chest. His whimpers are unimaginable pain and shock as his crushed bones realign themselves inside him. He makes it most of the way out of time. He makes most of the way out by the time Janice's arms give out, the van intensely lowering back down a couple of inches. I'm sorry! Fuck! Mr. Bronson spreads his legs wide, his muscles are quivering as he tries to hold up the whole van by himself. Go! Go! Get him out of there! He screams down at the albino, his blue eyes meeting the albino's as the old feline begins to nudge himself out from under the wheel. No! The otter howls as the van continues to lower despite his best efforts. The old man feels it touch the side of his muzzle. His breathing quickens, his arms are reaching for something, anything to help him. Then some gentle pressure. His eyes are bleary and moist now like a lost child. Then more pressure. And then... Janice screams. She screams and screams into her vocal cords frayed like the old yarn. Time passes. The body of the old man is dragged into a large open hole in the side of the road. Mr. Bronson's paws are bloodied, nails chipped from digging without a shovel. Janice refused to help, and she's been sitting in the van quietly for the past hour, crying to herself. She can't stop shaking. He buries the body in a small ditch, trying not to look at his half-crushed face. He seems to stare at him, asking for help from beyond the grave. Jeez. But why are we seeing this, though? He could have helped, but he wasn't strong enough. Maybe this is what he wanted after all. To die. Why else would he have been walking straight toward them in the middle of the road? He had plenty of time to move out of the way, but he didn't. It was like he didn't realize the shock of what he had done until he was tangled in the wheel skirt of the van. His bones jutting from his skin and blood dripping from his overalls. Once he's completely covered, Mr. Bronson peers back at the van. The splatter from the impact is still visible. He places a small stone to mark the grave of the unknown man before heading back and getting into the driver's seat. Janet says nothing to him, and for that he is thankful. Mr. Bronson drives off the road into a small valley a short ways away. He parks in between some bushes and collects his things, trying to ignore the new throbbing pain in his head. Together they silently exit the van and begin their slow walk back to Echo. A lone figure watches them from atop the hill, an impossibly tall silhouette with lanky arms that hang past his knees. We're together now. Okay, well that scene painted a very vivid picture. My eyes flutter open and I'm greeted by sunlight pouring through the thin curtains. At first I'm a little confused until I realize I'm not in the same bed I've been in for the rest of the trip. It takes me a minute to get control of my limbs again, and when I turn my head to the side I see Jenna sound asleep beside me. I had meant to talk to her about some of the stuff on my mind last night, but she fell asleep pretty quickly. She looks pretty peaceful, all things considered. It's such a contrast to the dream from the night before, the details of which are already starting to fade, but some of the imagery remains. The van, the albino getting hit, the tarantulas in the back, the tall figure that was watching on the hill. Ugh, it hurts to think about. I reach out a paw and gingerly nudge Jenna's shoulder. Hey, you awake? You know, this is just a theory, but maybe that monster thing that was in both Leo's and Flynn's route, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what they're seeing. Like the outlet monster, I guess is what we want to call it. Jenna's whiskers twitch. She must not be as asleep as I thought, because she makes a little grunt as I nudge her again. Her eyes open a crack and she smiles as she sees me looking back at her. Hey. Hey. I boop her in the nose with my paw once and can hear her tail thwap between the covers happily. Looking graceful today. Truly. She blinks once. Wait, why are you in my bed? She questions back with a raised brow, stretching her arms above her and yawning. I was trying to talk to you more about the Micah thing and you just closed your eyes and fell asleep. I did the same. Well, we all got the gist of it. I'm sorry. I've just been really tired lately. I'm gonna be so behind on my work for college, it's not even funny. I hate cramming. She squints at me for a moment. You have sleep crusties in your eyes. I blink. Oh, well, I just woke up. That's probably why. I rub my eyes quickly. She lets out a little laugh. You sleep okay? I mean, I'm surprised you didn't crawl back into bed with TJ after what you told me. I'm sure he would mind some platonic cuddling. She teases me with a wry expression and I feel my face burn hot. It's way too early in the morning for this kind of thing. I cover my face with my paw, regretting telling her all this personal crush stuff already. I wouldn't want to take advantage of him like that, but that's not something I really want to talk about right now. Understood. But in all seriousness, did you sleep okay? Her expression reads as a genuine concern for some reason. I debate just saying yeah and leaving it at that, but last night's dream felt so particularly bizarre it's wrong to not mention. Ugh, I shrug. More weird dreams. Had one where I simultaneously got hit by and ran over someone with the van. Like the perspective switched back and forth. Oh, that's weird. At least it's not the recurring shadowy you dream. Oh yeah, definitely. Seeing myself in the mirror is tough enough. I don't need to see that when I sleep. But Chase, please. You're not that ugly. I frown. You have a wonderful way of making your reassurances simultaneously slight put-downs. Do I? Yes. I'm being negged. Oh, shut up. I hate when guys do that. I'm just teasing you, Chase. Trying to read someone's physical appearance has always been hard for me. Especially when they're covered in eye gunk. Bah, oh, come on. I'm gonna wipe it on you. Her face crinkles into a look of repulsion. Oh, gross. She adjusts her pillow some and rolls onto her back, staring at the ceiling. You know, I keep dreaming about my grandmother. Really? Yes, and it's strange. Especially the one from last night. She pauses. I wait and looking at her expectantly. I was younger and in my bedroom back at my parents' place. Well, it didn't look like my bedroom and everything was kind of hazy, but I could hear the old hot water heater in the corner. I was being read a story from one of those children's books with the golden spines. You know the ones, right? I nod. Oh yeah, wow. I hadn't thought about those in ages. My parents used to read them to me all the time when I was little. Couldn't fall asleep without them. Oh? I can't recall ever being read a story outside of school, so that's why it was a bit unusual. Who was reading you the story then? Hold on, I'll get to that in a second. The story was a fairly basic medieval fairy tale, with the king having been eaten by a dragon and brave warrior venturing out to slay the beast. Despite it being a story I was being told, it was kind of like I was watching it happen all for real, like on a TV. The warrior travels a great distance to confront this dragon, but when they finally find him, they falter. Inside the dragon's lair, the warrior finds a baby dragon, whom the big one was trying to protect. The king had one of the dragons dead, stating that they were all monstrous, uncaring devils, but seeing the big dragon protect his young, the warrior knew that this was not the whole truth and spares the dragon. Huh, noble guy. It wasn't a guy. In fact, I believe it was my grandmother. The one you told me about? Yes. How do you know that? Jenna's brow furrows slightly as she thinks. I'm not sure exactly. At the time it felt implicit, obvious. Like, who else could it be? So, warrior grandma doesn't kill the dragon, and then what happens? Her gaze shifts as if searching for something fleeting. I don't think anything happened. It just sort of hard cut back to my bedroom. I could see the sun just starting to rise through the window. The sky's still orangey and red. You know, like how it gets during a drought when there's lots of dust in the air? Despite all this, the room looked even darker. I couldn't see who was reading the story to me, just that they had big red eyes. Oh my god. Big red eyes. Isn't that the guy we... Isn't that her grandmother? And then I woke up. That last part sounds familiar for some reason, but I'm having a difficult time remembering why. Wow? Jenna looks slightly embarrassed with herself, fussing with her head fur as she sits up some. Discussing dreams can be a great way to help discern stressors in one's life. Her tone is slightly defensive, the fennec using her words way too fancy for this early in the morning. The problem is, dreams are often deeply personal abstractions that... She frowns to herself some, then glances at the clock on the nightstand. It's probably going to be ours turn on search duty here in a bit. That information we got from Micah is really helpful, if true. Here's hoping he pulls through with his investigating. Yeah, to be honest, I was kind of a lot happier thinking Carl just went on a bender and got lost somewhere. He still might have, judging by how you said Micah described him acting. At least now we know the general direction to look. Right. I look at that neatly made bed on TJ's side of the room. He had initially given us a bit of a strange look when I stayed on Jenna's bed for the night. I can't tell if that's because he was curious about our relationship, or offended that I wasn't sleeping with them. I clarified that he didn't snore just in case. Jenna's phone vibrates beside us, and she lets out a little sigh, clearly comfortable and not wanting to move. If I had longer arms, I'd grab it for you. Oh, such a gentleman. Shame you're gay. Wait, what? Jenna winks at me, grabbing the phone with a little irk. She taps away at the screen. You know, I think if we chose the other dialogue where we said that we were bi, or if we said we were straight or whatever, that also would have been different. She taps away at the screen for a moment before looking over at me. Gonna meet up with TJ down at the diner for breakfast. Some eggs and bacon sounds amazing to me right now. I'm usually not the sort of person who gets hungry as soon as they wake up, but that does sound pretty good. Yeah, with some jam and toast too. Now you're talking. I know you took one last night, but I should probably take a shower first. Gotta, get all the eye goop off me that's so offensive to you. Oh? She cants her head in my direction, setting her phone back down. Well, thank you for being so considerate to those around you, Chase. We appreciate it, truly. I grunt idly and slide myself off to the other side of the bed. I'll meet you down at the diner. Gotta walk down there this time. The reception's been kinda weird this morning, but I'll text TJ your order. Thank you. I give her a little thumbs up and she smiles, leaning over to the edge of the bed to begin rifling through her suitcase. When I step out about 20 minutes later, I notice that my phone is flashing with that new notification light. I click on it. I click it on and notice one new message. It's Micah, your BF is fucking shit up hitting Clint. Get down here to Jasmine Street now. Oh no. God damn it, Leo. I sent out a big group text last night updating the group of what happened with Micah. Everyone got back to me except Leo, who never responded. Yeah, this route Leo is like so he's like so unhinged in this one. It showed that he read the message though, so I didn't question it at the time. I quickly grab my keys and head out. Oh jeez, but now we're split from Jenna. I make sure to park at least a quarter mile down the street past the intersection onto Jasmine. From there I make my way out on foot, huffing my way down the gravel road. As I fast walk I notice there's little puddles everywhere, but there was no rain last night. At least if there was, I was sleeping too deeply to notice. I can still practically smell the smoke of the bonfire from yesterday as I draw closer. I imagine they probably let it burn down to ashes last night. That group not seeming to like the real fire safety type. Fuck you! A voice cracks through the silence. I pass the burnt out trailer from down in the valley. It's shrill and raspy, and a violent clash that sounds like garbage cans getting knocked over soon follows. It's unmistakably Clint. There's another voice that follows, this one lower. It's quiet and threatening, but I can't quite make out what he's saying. Something about making Clint's life hell. There's an accent to the way how the R's are being rolled, and I quickly realize it's Leo's. His English always gets worse when he's emotional. I creep up beside a shed full of what looks like copper tubing, wondering if it's too late to turn back. Peering around the corner, I can see Clint knocked on his ass, a can of half-eaten beans spilled all over his crotch. He's almost completely covered in trash. Jeremy's also next to him, holding his arm looking like he's about to start bawling. No sign of Micah or Heather, though. Where is he, huh? You gonna tell me? Eat shit, faggot. I don't know where your fucking friend is. That's bullshit. Leo snaps back, Clint flinching some as he slides himself further behind the trash can that he knocked over earlier. A hypodermic needle is dangling from his thigh, probably poking through his jeans. He doesn't seem to notice. His eyes are flicking around wildly as if he's searching for something. He won't be so loud soon. Leo growls and his tail is raised and bristling. It's strange to see him flash his teeth like this. Leo's getting truly angry. Getting truly angry was always a rarity growing up. The wolf usually being the one trying to pacify everyone else. Whatever his reasons, he's not having any of Clint's shit today. He snatches the ring-tail by the scruff of his neck, Clint thrashing for a second before Leo tightens his grip. Jeremy looks up at the two of them, his eyes like saucers. I know you all tried to rob Carl's place, but it didn't work, huh? Carl got spooked and ran off, and you said you were gonna handle him. Well, how'd you handle him? Something like this how I'm about to handle you if you don't tell me. God damn it, Leo. There goes Micah's cover. So much for trying to do this the subtle way. I feel like I should step out from my hiding spot and say something to intervene. To do fucking anything to stop this before it escalates. But I just stand there saying and doing nothing. Clint writhes just enough to clutch at Leo's wrist. His long, unkempt fingernails digging into the white fur. I didn't see him, I swear. I ain't seen him at all, not since last week. And we ain't done none of that robbing shit from his place. How's this fucking cursed? His bulging eyes shift to Jeremy as if waiting for confirmation from the chubby fennec. He's met with only silence. Leo's nostrils flare, shaking his head. You know what happened! Fuck. I know you know, goddammit, don't lie to me! You don't know shit! Sounds like someone's been lying to you, and I think I know who. This is very clearly not what Leo wants to hear. Jowl's pulling back and exposing more of his teeth in a silent snarl. I need to find him. I need to fix this, and you two sacks of shit are gonna help me. The wolf throws Clint down atop Jeremy, the two colliding with an audible thud. Jeremy yelps, clutching from his arms again. Leo must have really heard it earlier. Psst! There's a sharp whisper from a broken down RV to my left. Through the dusty, broken windows, I can see the familiar outline of a pair of ridiculously large ears. Micah. I crouch down, clutching my tail in my paws so it doesn't flop around behind me. Quietly, I make my way up to the door and step inside, careful to not step on any broken glass on my way in. The smell inside is awful, and despite the arid climate, it's surprisingly damp and moldy in here. Micah is hunkered down beneath an overturned cabinet, glancing briefly at me before returning to his gaze to the scene unfolding outside. I'm fucked, he mutters, and so is your friend. All thanks to him of all people. Micah points to the wolf outside, whose focus on attention has shifted to Jeremy now. I didn't know that he would react like this. I whisper back. Yeah, I thought you were just gonna call the cops on me. Didn't expect this from a goody two-shoes Echo gang. Micah frowns deeply, and I noticed a heavy pipe wrench clutched in his small paws. Whoa, are you gonna try hitting him with that? Micah swallows. He was asking about me by name earlier. Jeremy said he hadn't seen me, then Leo punched him into the arm so hard that he hit the dirt. This is just in case. Better not fucking hurt him, you fat fuck! Another cry of pain. I think Leo hit him again, but it's hard to tell through my spot at the window. The bat's gaze shifts back over to me. What the fuck are you still doing out here? Go out there and stop him, you dumb shit! Micah whispers harshly, his raspy voice is intense. Oh, right, but what? Leo just blew her one chance to figure out what Carl is through your method. You sure fucking did, now what's your point? Those two were at least Clint probably knows what happens after the phone call you mentioned last night. A sick, twisted feeling starts to settle into my stomach. Micah's looking at me with a dumbfounded expression. This may be our one chance at, finding out where Carl is? Through torture? Fuck me, Schizo, don't be a bitch and get out there! He shoves my shoulder, but I manage to keep myself from toppling over, steadying myself onto a mildewy countertop. Don't touch me. I'll touch you all I goddamn want. My life here is over thanks to you. Yeah? What a life it was! Dealing drugs, trying to rob my friend, and then covering up a kidnapping. You don't know how fucking good you have it, you musky-ass bitch. I don't know where Carl is, so don't pin that shit on me yet. The man glances out the window, then does a quick double take. Wait, where'd he go? His ear perks and his yellow eyes widen. Oh, piss. It takes me a second, but I hear it too. Footsteps. And I think they're getting closer. Micah scrambles to the back of the RV, opening to the half-busted bathroom door and jamming himself inside. Don't let him see me. What? Oh, shit. It's just Leo. Calm down. I take a deep breath and make my way to the door of the RV, pushing it open. It proceeds to promptly fall right off, its rusted hinges landing in the dirt below. Leo stands about 5 feet away, his look of anger shifting to surprise. Chase? Fuck, what are you doing here? I'm not sure what to say. Behind Leo, I can see Clint and Jeremy slumped against the side of the mobile home. I decide to turn the question back to him, swallowing back the lump that crawled its way up to my throat. Me? Leo, what the hell are you doing here? We had a plan. Yeah? Well, so do I. I'm gonna fix this, and you don't have to worry about a thing, okay? Leo, we're in this together. We're not kids anymore. Look, I know you've been away a while, yeah? But these guys... He points back to Jeremy and Clint. They just hurt people. Always have. That's all they do, just a bunch of gang-bashing speed freaks. And now they've crossed the line. Leo steps up, placing his large paws on my shoulders. I flinch. He notices, then a hurt expression crosses his muzzle as he draws back. I'm gonna fix this, Chase. Trust me, please. Leo, I don't know, this is kind of fucked. You're just gonna get yourself into more trouble, and I don't want that. Look, it's just like we talked about last night. Everything's gonna be okay. Wait, what? Leo, you and I didn't talk last night. I haven't seen or spoken to you since Wednesday. Oh, but... Wait. Because I remember when we were dreaming, Leo was there. But then he wasn't there for the rest of the dream. It was like right near the beginning. Leo stares at me, visibly confused. He looks down to his feet, then back up again. No? I was watching Carl's place and you came over. I told you about the need for action here, and you agreed with me. Oh, we were lucid sleepwalking too, if that's the case. Because Micah was lucid sleepwalking, and I think we just did the same. The hum. It's the hum. That's what's doing it. I blink up at him. After the conversation with Micah, I went straight to bed. I definitely didn't go back all the way to Carl's. It was probably just a dream or something. Huh. Don't think so. He sucks his tongue for a second before speaking again. Have you seen Micah? Gotta ask him a few questions. No. I lie. Ugh. I'll track him down. Canine powers and what have ya. He gesticulates with a loose swirl of his paw before letting it fall limply back at his side. Hopefully Micah took a shower recently. Might do that thing where we ask him a few questions one at a time and make sure their answers match up. I read about something like that in a spy novel once. And if they don't, Leo looks at me as if he wasn't expecting me to ask that question. Well, let's just hope they do, yeah? For their own good. He nods sagely, seemingly trying to ignore the fact that I'm staring at him like he's missing a few bolts. When I don't say anything, he just sighs, turning to head back in the direction of Clint and Jeremy. Alright, you should head back to the motel and text the rest of the gang. I'll keep you updated. And if you see as Leo rounds the side of one of the nearby sheds, something large, brown, and hairy jets forth and strikes him in the waist. He recoils, staggering to his knee with a gasp. Just as he looks to see what hit him, a second blow strikes him square in the muzzle. I see his whole head rattle and his face contorted in pain as he falls flat on his ass, trying to scoot away from the source of the assault. Oh fuck! Leo! I run up to help him just as a huge... Oh shit, they're in Brian territory. I run up to help him just as the huge bear emerges from around the shed. Leo's a big guy, but this man is nearly a foot taller than even him. Scab's coat, his matted fur, and a rank smell of stale beer and musk wafts from him like cheap perfume. There's something horrible about him, and it's not just his acrid odor or lesion-dotted visage. His eyes are empty. Empty not in a physical way, but there's something about his appearance that can't be quite put into words. A combination of factors that just make him look like he just walked straight out of a nightmare. Brian, you're here! Shut up, man. Brian. God, this is fucking Brian? No wonder Micah wanted to try the subtle approach. Ah, what the hell? Brian chuckles down at Leo, and the first thing I'm struck by is how high-pitched his voice is. It's like this strange combination of a valley girl lisp mixed with a hint of helium. Hey, what you doing, boy? What you... He kicks at Leo's leg, the wolf grunting in pain. What you doing? He smiles, pleased with himself in his little ambush. You know, this is my turf, right? You hurting my boys wasn't a kind thing. Where is Carl? Leo shouts, covered in dirt, as he scoots back along the ground. Brian continues to approach him with that same smile, several of his teeth missing or half-rotted to corn kernel-like husks. He seems to ignore Leo's question, grabbing me at the wolf pant leg while Leo kicks rootlessly at him. I gotta do something. Brian hasn't seen me yet. For some reason, the first thing that flashes through my mind is, what would Jenna do? Next thing I know, I'm walking toward both of them. I see Jeremy in the distance. His eyes are going wide. He mouths one word. Don't. Hey! Hey! Stop it! Right now! The bear stops what he's doing, looking at me with an indiscernible expression. I thought we'd never see him again. Oh my god, he's huge. Your behavior's getting real inappropriate. Oh fuck me, it's you. It's so evil that everything distorts and blurs around him. You know, after what he did to us in Leo's route, I could definitely see that. Duke was right. You've been sulking around here these past weeks, haven't you? Leo growls, taking advantage of the distracted Brian by kicking him square in the nuts as hard as he can. At least that's what it looks like he was aiming for. Instead, it hits his thigh and the bear stumbles back with a pained squeal. It's enough to give Leo some time to get back on his feet. I grab my keys from my pocket. My car is still parked the hell of a long ways away. I have no idea where Leo parked his van or if he even drove it in the first place. Come on, Leo, let's go! No. He balls his paws into fists. He knows where Carl is. This is our only goddamn chance, Chase. Get out of here. Get safe! I blanch as he begins rushing the bear, dropping his shoulder for a football tackle. There's no way in hell Leo can take on this guy. Leo, goddammit! The impact is hard, two heavy bodies colliding with an audible smack. The two topple down upon a wooden pallet covered in loose metal pipes. Brian squeals again, thrashing like a spider that's just been spritzed with bug spray. The bear scratches at Leo, but Leo hits him hard in the face, again and again, pummeling the previously grinning mug into a twisted visage of agony. Brian's squeals turn to outright screams, like he's gone completely feral. Jesus, Leo. I said go! Brian jerks forward, sinking his yellow teeth into Leo's shoulder. The wolf's eyes go wide from the shock of pain. It's stunning him as he's held within the bear's jaws. He He tries grabbing at his gnarly muzzle, but the bear only clamps down harder. I can see his nostrils dilating as his acrid breath puffs out in quick enraged bursts. No! I've never won a fight in my goddamn life, but again I have to do something. I run up and aim to kick Brian square in the head, anything to get him off Leo. It's a glancing blow, but it's enough. I see his jaw unclench, just as my foot catches and I trip over both of them, splaying chest first into the dirt. Oof! Leo's gonna owe me so many beers after this. I cough out sputters of dust and dry grass rolling over onto my back. I see a flash of fur and there's another couple of thuds. Then those eyes again, the empty ones. Brian's leering over me now, his face puckered like he just sucked on something sour. Leo's rolled over on his side, retching as he clutches his gut. He must have gotten socked in the stomach and hard. The bear says nothing as he places 2 large paws around my neck. His expression doesn't do so much as it cracks into an increasingly wide smile. Then a knee on my chest. I can't move. I can't breathe. My heart begins to race and I'm feeling my own pulse begin to throb. I can feel his legs dig deep down where my jugular is. I gasp for breath. My blood vessels are beginning to pop. My eyes feel like they're about to squeeze out of my head. He knows what he's doing. And so do you. Ugh, get away from him! A thud. Leo slams his whole body weight into the bear again. It takes all of his force to budge him, but once he's down, he's stunned for a while. I gasp for breath, clutching at my neck and scurrying back behind Leo. Brian's on his paws and knees now, panting with sick, wheezy breaths. Leo scrambles up onto his feet and kicks the bear in the ribs. He barely budges, but Leo keeps at it, strike after strike. He's swearing under his breath, a string of words in his native tongue flowing forth from between the gritted teeth. I'm still having trouble catching my breath. My whole head is throbbing and lights popping in front of my eyes. Brian yanks on the cuff of Leo's jeans and pulls the wolf down with him. He crawls on top, taking Leo's head in one meaty paw and banging it against the ground. I can see him squeezing down, the wolf desperately flailing to get him off. He reaches for one of the pipes on the nearby pallet, but Brian catches him before he can get a hold on it. The bear pins both of his wrists above him, grinning in sort of hazy rage. I run up trying to push him off, but it's like trying to move a boulder. A single elbow strikes me and I go flying back. It feels like I just got hit by a goddamn car. I hear Leo scream in pain, followed by a short gurgling noise. I've never heard Leo sound like this in my life. It's horrible. Get off! Ugh. And another cry. I've got to do something. Maybe I will. As I push myself up to my elbows, my head starts to spin, the throbbing in my skull intensifying. I can finally see what's happening. Brian's still got Leo pinned on the ground. He has his knee up on his chest and is pressing down with all his weight. The wolf heaves, trying to free his hands to no avail. Hi Beanfur, welcome on in. The Blep welcomes you. Welcome on into our late night evening of playing Echo. A more primal look crosses his eyes. His toes are curling down into the dirt and his paws balling into his fists. Also, Bean, thank you so much for the follow. Bark, bark, bark. Yeah, welcome on in. Happy to have you with us. Brian leans down for just a moment to grin at him while Leo snaps. His white fangs sink down into the brown muzzle of the bear. He's biting hard and I can practically see the cartilage tearing. It catches him off guard though, enough to let Leo get his paws free again, which he promptly uses to pummel the bear's noggin. Each punch is a short knuckle-heavy blow, not letting Brian get the opportunity to recover. The upper hand lasts only a couple of seconds, however, as the bear swings his fist blindly and connects right at Leo's temple. Another strike catches the edge of his shirt, and Brian tears it away like it's paper. His eyes are shut, and he crumples back in a manner that I'm sure means he's unconscious. But he keeps moving, pushing himself out from under Brian and trying to crawl away. Come back here, boy! The shout is loud, and Leo begins to crawl faster. Just as he pushes himself to his feet, Brian tackles him back on all fours again, hitting him in the back of his head. Once he stopped moving, Brian pushes his face into the dirt. He rests his chest against Leo's back, breathing heavily down on his neck. Fuck off! Leo's eyes begin to dart around rapidly as he realizes what's happening. Never played Echo before? Is it scary? Yes, it is very scary, and Right now we are in like some sort of fight scene, but now it's starting to get a bit disturbing as I probably assume what's happening next. Oh look, it's a stinky kitty. A stinky cute kitty. Welcome on in, Darius. The Blep welcomes you. The emasculating position is very much intentional. Two paws come down and grasp around the back of Leo's neck, his huge fingers pressing down on his airways. You are stinky, Darius. Very stinky. Heckin' cat litter covered kitty. Stop! I call out, but my voice is first. I push myself back up to what feels like the 100th time. If I can get to the pipes on that pallet, maybe I can stop this. I take one step and nearly collapse. What the hell happened to me? I close my eyes for a moment, trying to catch my breath. That's when I hear the sound of pattering little feet scampering across the topsoil. Take this, bitch! Bam! A heavy metal of the wrench strikes Brian in the muzzle right as soon as he turns around. A spray of blood splatters both Brian and the bat, the bear hobbling back before roaring in agony, two teeth falling from the front of his maw. Where's the bonk button? Here, Darius. Here's something for you. I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry, but this is a scary story. Echo by the Echo Project is very scary, no matter what route you take. Nope, sorry Darius, I don't make the rules. His whole body quakes with rage. Micah! What are you doing? Micah's chest raises and falls into rapid succession. It's apparent his fight or flight responses are kicking in. Oh, fuck. As Brian turns to face him, his eyes are wild, and it looks like the ladder has taken hold. The bat fucking bolts, sprinting as fast as he can towards the exit of the trailer park and into the desert scrub beyond. Astonishingly, Brian is right behind him. He's way too fast for someone his size, and he screams like a banshee as he runs. Imagine being cute. Me being cute? Couldn't be me, but welcome on in, Amiel. The Blep welcomes you. It's the DJ dog of VR chat. There's a moment where Micah stumbles, and I'm sure that the bear is going to catch him, but he just dodges out of the way and he keeps going. They run and run until I can't see them anymore. An eerie silence falls upon the trailer park. I head over to Leo, taking him by the shoulder. The fur around his jowls is matted with dried blood, and his tail hangs between his legs, completely still. Leo, are you okay? Ah, fuck. That's all he can say as he clutches his head. I agree with that sentiment. I was so close. Not really, man. I'm about to say something else when I feel the wolf's large arms embrace me. I'm sorry. You cute? Nope, I'm not cute. Never cute, and never was, and never will be. The sensitive moment catches me off guard after the brutality which was just on display. Instead of embracing him in return, I'm left feeling uneasy. Sorry, why are you sorry? He doesn't immediately respond, seeming to ignore the question. Leo is a massive hottie. Also, Bastion, hello, welcome on in. The Blep welcomes you. This is Echo by the Echo Project. We are on, I believe, the last route for this game. There is a ton of routes. Like, I believe there's 4 routes, but they last hours upon hours upon hours. But you are going to absolutely love this. So it's like a psychological horror furry visual novel, and it took like 4 or 5 years to fully develop. Is it on Steam or no? It's on Game Jolt, I believe. Or not on Game Jolt. It's on itch.io. So let me link this. So they're the same people that makes the Adastra game, and it's a psychological horror visual novel. But like, again, this game took years upon years to develop. 5 routes and 8 endings, yeah. So this game has a lot of dialogue, and there are so many things that will just drive you uneasy. But it's insane. You will absolutely love it. You okay? Oh, just dizzy. My neck is swollen and it still kind of hurts to talk and swallow. He pulls back a little and he looks to the horizon. Yeah, but Bastion, I swear, you do have to definitely play this game. Like, I have never been more invested in a visual novel until this game. Everything's red for me now. Huh? Leo doesn't respond and I pull back to look at his face. He seems kind of distant and probably concussed. I glance back to where Jeremy and Clint were and notice they're gone. No trace of them to be seen. I think for a moment that I see a familiar white fur of Micah's head and shoulders in the distance, but he's well out of sight by now. Ah, damn. Micah saved you know that? You saved me? I blink, frowning my breath some. No, that was Micah, the short bat guy. I hope he's gonna be okay. He's fast and wily. He should be fine, especially once Brian's adrenaline wears off. Thanks, Chula. I love you. I'm struck by the gentleness of his statement. His tone is genuine, if dazed. The frayed mess of nerves that I am right now, hearing that soothes me just a little. Sure, Leo. Love you too. Let's get you back to the motel. I look down at the tattered remains of Leo's shirt as we stand up together. Christ, this wasn't productive at all, was it? I don't know what this game is. It's a psychological horror visual novel. But again, there are hours upon hours of dialogue, and for some routes there are like alternative endings. Apparently for this route we've already reached one of them, and there's dialogue that will change that. Is this the only thing you do? For games like this, like yes, we do narrate it, but we also do a couple of other games as well. We limp our way back to my sedan, and after helping Leo in the back seat, we make our way back to the motel. God, you're heavier than I remember. Only where it counts. A wry smile is visible on his muzzle, the battered wolf clearly still loopy from all the blows to the head. Or at least, that's what I hope the explanation is. It's still cool? Yeah, I agree. He keeps squeezing my side as I struggle to keep him upright. With my free hand, I dig around in my pocket and search for the Echo Motel keycard. The task is made all the more difficult by the appalling ministrations of Leo, who I keep having to bat away. For fuck's sake, Leo, I'm genuinely pissed at you. We almost died and you blew a chance to find Carl easily. I don't even know how I'm going to begin to explain this to the cops. Leo makes a dismissive noise. I'll handle it, you don't gotta worry. I prop Leo against the wall, giving him an incredulous look. Does he not even process what would have happened if Micah and I hadn't stepped in to help him? Leo, you just pissed off some kind of trailer park drug kingpin who now knows exactly who you are. That should concern the hell out of you. Nah. There's a distant look in his eyes. Before I have time to further chest what an idiot he's being, I hear a voice call out from behind me. Are you saying that Pride Month is over? It is almost over, but you know, I don't really I mean, Pride Month is Pride Month. I don't really celebrate it. And I mean, like I don't really celebrate it, but I do partake in that community. So people will be people. Hey, Jenna's holding a small plastic bag with the words "Thank you" printed all over and over again in bold red lettering. Chase, where were you? What's going on? Leo's expression goes a little more flat, his tail unmoving behind him. Jenna? The wolf greets her curtly, eliciting a perplexed face from the fox. I leave for 20 minutes and of course Leo's now beaten and shirtless. She gives me a stern look. What happened? I let out a sigh, pinching the tip of my nose before letting my paw flop down to my side. Leo tried to interrogate the Tetanus Alley crew by himself, and I was doing fine until that squeaky-voiced fat-ass showed up. Brian. I clarify. Oh shit. She reaches into her pocket, taking her own keycard and sliding it into the door. Come on, let's get you inside. There's some basic medical supplies in the bathroom. I'll see what I can scrounge up. I think he's got a concussion. Yeah, I don't need to tell you that. You shouldn't let him fall asleep. I'm right here, you know. You can talk to me. I would if I think it would do any good, but you obviously don't listen to anything we say, as evidenced by this latest stunt. God, Leo, why are you so stupid? You're an adult. Jenna pushes the door open and I help Leo inside. I'm trying not to look directly at him, but judging by the tenseness of his muscles, I can tell he's definitely not digging Jenna's scolding. I'm gay, so I'm an LGBT. Yeah, that's alright. Whatever you identify as, this blep welcomes you. Oh, sorry about that. I just needed to get a drink of water before we continue. Because, again, I'm narrating this whole thing, so water does definitely help. I walk Leo over to one of the beds and help him sit down carefully so he doesn't smoosh his own tail. Easy now, big guy. The wolf palpably softens at those words, and I think I catch a slight sad smile pass toward my direction. Despite all his idiocy, we did just survive near death together. He pats my lower back some, just as Jenna shuts the door behind us. I should probably text TJ. He's doing those sports medicine courses, so he might be able to help us out a bit. He left to continue the search with Flynn after you didn't show up. Though honestly, I think we should drive him to the urgent care down in Payton. I look up to Leo, anticipating his response before he even speaks. I'm fine. Leo, I said I'm fine, yeah? You shouldn't be babying over me while Carl is still out there. You're right. We shouldn't be having to do this at all. Jenna walks past Jenna walks past us both with the glowing look of maternal disappointment before heading into the bathroom. She does drop the bag of food next to us on the bed, though. Ordinarily, I'd be concerned about getting grease on the covers, but considering the circumstances, I pull out a styrofoam container from the bag and pop it open. Inside are 2 grilled cheese sandwiches with toast, eggs, and bacon pushed off to the side. It looks kind of haphazardly put together, but my grumbling stomach doesn't mind. I hand Leo grilled cheese and take some bacon for myself. You feeling dizzy? Any sudden sharp head pains? Just some throbbing, but that's about it, eh? Par for the course when I'm around you. He grins for a flicker of a second before taking a huge bite of the sandwich. I can't help but stare at him wide-eyed. My face is burning. It's not that I'm super offended by the flirting or anything, but now, of all the times to do it? Leo swallows down a mouthful of bread and cheese. Judging by his expression, he doesn't seem to be a big fan of the taste. Sorry, I'm just getting sleepy. I reach up, clutching his shoulder. Hey, come on, don't pass out on us. You know you can't do that now. Jenna returns with some hydrogen peroxide, gauze, and what looks like a bottle of I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. I sent a message out to the group chat letting them know what's going on. The signal was being kind of weird for a second, but it said sent. Jenna sits down besides the wolf with her can of disinfectant, to which Leo visibly recoils. I can do it, just give it to me. The Fennec's brow furrows as she actually pulls back the can. No, that is not how you're going to treat me right now. Like you treat me like shit, yeah? What? I know you've been talking ill of me behind my back, trying to keep Chase away. Oh, that's the lake. That's the lake music in the back. Jenna stares dumbfounded at Leo. I am absolutely baffled by your priorities right now. I'm going to assume that this is the head trauma speaking. So what if it is? You know it's true. Leo shifts his gaze to me. She has, hasn't she? I sigh. I really wasn't prepared to deal with this confrontation right now. I probably should have spent more time with you to make sure you didn't do anything like you just did. No, Chase, this is not your fault. The sooner Leo realizes he's the one making mistakes, the sooner we can rally and figure out what we're going to do next. For Carl, remember him? The person we're actually trying to find? I wince, having agreed with the first part of what Jenna said, but it's definitely gone a step too far. Jenna, we're all concerned about Carl. I take the antiseptic spray and begin shaking the can before spritzing on to fuel Leo's wounds. The wolf barely even reacts. His pain tolerance was always pretty heavy growing up. He'd win pretty much every game of slap hands or punch you, punch me that Flynn or Carl devised. I used to find that sort of toughness attractive. Guys, let's focus. Jenna holds up the flat of her palm toward me, speaking up with a curt tone. Chase, you don't really believe Leo's doing this out of the genuine goodness of his heart, right? That he has some deep compassion for Carl? Hell, I've spoken with Carl online these past few years. Leo basically stopped talking to him the moment you left for college. That is 3 whole years of not giving a damn. Leo's jowls pull back along the corner of his mouth for a moment before he reaches up and clutches his temple. That's real hypocritical of you to say. Don't. Jenna looks up at the ceiling. Her usual cool and collected demeanor is gone. It's clear Leo's actions have pushed her past the point of calm understanding. Don't? Don't what? Don't stop you from laying into me while you're guilty of the same? Yeah, you left everyone behind, didn't you? Jenna looks stunned for a moment before her brow furrows once again. Oh yes, Leo, a completely unjustified decision. Unrelenting neglect, abuse, and traumatic influence is no reason to distance oneself from the sacred nuclear family unit. It's not often that Jenna outright expressed what went on in her tiny house growing up. We all figured she wasn't keen on representing herself as someone to be pitied, so we generally didn't pry. Her bringing up this now definitely means this is a touchier subject, and Leo knows this. After this outburst and your latest behavior, is it any wonder we don't reach out to you as much anymore? Leo's unfocused gaze shifts from Jenna to me and back again. Chase talks to me. I squeeze Leo's shoulder. Guys, Carl? Let's focus on Carl? Okay, let's save here just in case. What are we gonna do about him? I flash Jenna a pleading look. Yeah, he still messages me from time to time. I squeeze harder. He says he misses me and he can't wait to see me again. That he misses us being together. What? Jenna peers at Leo incredulously, her arms folded across her chest. When no one says anything in response, she unfolds her arms, her expression softening some. Is it me or did the background just get slightly dimmer through that one line? Wait, seriously? Her attention shifts to me. You've been texting Leo that you want to get back together this whole time? No, not really. I mean, I barely text him. It's always late at night. Leo sparks with a droll monotone. My phone flashes and it's you. You bring up all the old times we messed around, how you want to do it again. You get kind of intense too. Like last time when you talked about, how you wanted me in you again. Leo, for fuck's sake! My face absolutely burns. I want to just throw my paw over his muzzle and shut him up. How could he be bringing this up at a time like this? Or bringing it up at all? Jenna's brow is raised high now. Before she can say anything, Leo speaks again, gesturing forward with jittery movements. I'm not fucking lying, yeah? I can show you the texts. I saved them. Ooh. Marshmallow Wolfie, welcome on in. The Blep welcomes you. I hope you're having an awesome day, night, evening. Yeah, welcome. We're happy to have you here. I'm doing fantastic, Marshmallow. We've been playing Echo by the Echo Project tonight, and I am just totally into it. I'm loving where the story is going. You got rid of them the next morning. Every time. A dull throb pounced within my head. The intrusive thoughts pointed at Jenna's gaze, which is very much aimed at me now. They made you feel guilty. Out of everything, that's what you feel guilty about. Okay, wow. Neither of you told me any of this. I practically want to scream now. Carl, let's focus on Carl. Anything to get the spotlight off of me. Well, it really wasn't pertinent. It was just a couple of times over the span of 3 years. Chase, it is. At least somewhat. She hesitates a second, trying to find some gentle phrasing as she shifts her weight from one foot to the other. Not the nitty-gritty details, of course, unless we were all particularly inebriated. I hope I'm saying that right. Inebriated. She looks between the two of us. At the very least, it partially explains Leo's behavior, though I'm not saying it justifies it. There you go again. I'm right here and you're still talking right over me. He hunches forward some. You're injured, Leo, plus your words and actions have been exceptionally irrational lately, so forgive me if you aren't given a spot at the grown-up table. Leo ignores her, beginning to mumble. At first I was confused why you were acting like this, trying to take away my chance at making things right. You've always been cruel, but never this bad, yeah? Cruel? there's definitely some change, like at some point in this story where in Jenna's route we did tell her to be completely carefree about her words, because she's never acted like this in any scenario until now. Everything looks just fine to me. No way it's getting darker. Not happening, just to imagine. Okay, then I might be going crazy then. Just like this, just like how the town of Echo is driving everyone crazy, now it's driving me crazy. Jenna lets out an amused but exhausted noise, pinching the bridge of her muzzle. Are you implying that I'm stealing Chase from you? As if he were an object to be conquered and taken? That is a regressive... Leo starts talking in that same deadpan voice before Jenna finishes. You know what you're doing. Attitude towards someone you claim you understand so deeply. Jenna continues speaking even throughout the wolf's words. But hey, that's just who you are. Leo, please, relax. Stop talking. I begin wrapping my gaze around some of the disinfected wounds. It's hard to tell and difficult to focus what's going on, but some of these might require some stitches. His large head turns to look at me, but his pupils are hidden between his half-open eyelids. Just close my eyes and fall asleep. Wait, no, don't do that! And then you're right there with me again. Jenna's nostrils flare, exasperated. I'm about to smack him awake. I frown. Don't do that either. You came down to Echo to surprise me the other week. I thought that was really nice of you. You showed you cared. I have no clue what he's talking about. For the past few weeks I've been cramming for midterms and streaming old movies with Vincent in my dorm room. For a moment I think Jenna just gives me a slightly accusatory look, but doesn't say anything. Instead she grabs a few strips of bacon before walking to the side of the room and checking her phone. Okay, the signal is completely messed up. My bars are bouncing up and down like they're on a trampoline. She holds her phone higher, squinting at it. Meanwhile, I'm trying to keep Leo upright as I wrap a particularly nasty-looking gash at his arm. He must have cut himself when he fell down. Maybe a tetanus shot is in order when we get to the doctor, too. You're kind of thin, which was cute, but you should eat more. I was gonna have Pops cook you those hamburgers with the jalapeno ketchup you like. He's not really making much sense at the moment, but at least the focus isn't on me anymore. Oh, here we go. I could immediately tell by the crackles that something was gonna happen, and now the rising music is coming back. I have a feeling I'm going to get a bit of scolding from Jenna later, though. I always thought Leo's dad's burgers were kind of iffy, but I never wanted to be rude. The goatee, though, you shaving it was kind of funny. You're so proud of that thing. But it was like you were doing everything you could to be cute for me. Jenna's frowning deeply at her phone now. Whether it's because of what Leo showed us, something on the screen is unclear. Without looking, Leo brings up a giant paw and squeezes the end of my chin. I quickly push it away, and he seems surprised for a moment when he feels the untrimmed scruff. Oh, it is getting darker, motherfucker! I knew it! Huh? Is that really you, Chase? I catch Jenna peering pointedly at the wolf before glancing back to her phone. I think maybe we should start driving to the clinic now. I'm not even sure if the others got my text, and the stupid phone can barely buffer the messaging app. I tried both and the standard SMS. I reach into my pocket and pull out my phone. The spot where the bars are indicating service and Wi-Fi aren't there anymore. At least at first. I see them flicker back and on for a second before disappearing again. I've never seen it do it before. Yeah, my Wi-Fi is messed up too. I press my thumb over the power button. Guess I'll try turning it off and on again. Jenna frowns. I suppose there's no point in checking my laptop. She lets out a long exhale before shoving her phone back into her pocket and looking at me. Before I give up entirely, let me try your phone real quick. You've always had the best signal. That is, unless you've got something on there you'd rather not show me. Her tone is idle and nonchalant, but her words are definitely meant as a jab. Hey, come on. I let go of Leo, giving the fennec my best annoyed look. I can explain all of this later, it's just been bad timing with... And then Leo goes still. I turn to look into his eyes and notice they're still open. Ah! Holy shit, okay, I was not expecting that at all. There's something behind him. Hey. What? I step back. Okay, that just gave me major goosebumps. Holy fucking shit. Leo mumbles something inaudible. A figure behind him stands still, its body blurred and dark, like the light of the room won't touch it. It's like staring at a funhouse mirror, except the thing in front of me isn't following my movements as I back further and further away. There's a gasp from the corner of the room. Chase? Jenna's voice comes after a few seconds of silence. What is that? She speaks in a half yell, half whisper. I don't know. Respond without thinking. The figure is... Oh shit, so this thing is literally in the room with us. The figure still stares at me. As I back away, I notice that its socketed eyes follow me without it ever moving its head. My foot catches the edge of a suitcase and I have to quickly grab the dresser so I don't tumble over. I suck in a sharp breath between my teeth. My heart is pounding. No reaction. 10 seconds have passed now and this thing is still here. Leo sits but only somewhat. It stirs but somewhat. His eyes roll into the back of his head and he turns slightly toward the direction of the doppelganger. Only then does it begin to move as well. It rests a shadowy furred paw on Leo's own. Oh my god, what do we do here? Let's say don't touch him. I wince as the words leave my mouth, spoken without thought. Chase, don't. Why? Its voice is so garbled and it sounds nothing like me. Like a clipped soundbite from an old cassette tape. Just don't hurt him. Leo lays there, conked out and helpless. It's such a contrast from the fuming predator striking at Brian I saw 30 minutes ago. You've hurt him plenty. No. I try to swallow, finding my throat dry. Leo's lips move again, this time I can hear him clearly. I love you. Love you too. Oh my god, this is what's haunting him! Oh my god, that's... Oh my god, that is so creepy. He speaks in my voice this time, crystal clear with no distortion. The affection... Oh my god! The affectation is slightly perturbed and I realize that's how I sounded when I responded to Leo earlier. Its shadowy visage fades into the surroundings. Till it's completely gone. I can feel the goosebumps beneath my fur subside and breathing is somehow easier all of a sudden. The air is less thick. Leo sits up, still in a sleepy daze. Clutches at his paw and feeling nothing there. A confused and sad expression crosses his white face. I finally look over to Jenna who's backed up against the bathroom door. She rubs her eyes, seemingly looking on in disbelief. Neither of us say anything, trying to process what the hell that was. It felt like a dream, but one I could actually feel. The room itself had a sort of ozone-y smell to it, but that's completely gone now. Surprisingly, Leo's the first to speak. Thank you, Chase. Oh my god, that's probably what Duke was seeing as well. He says that, still looking at his paw. What? That's all I can say. One of Leo's ears flick and he turns his attention back to me. For being here for me. Jenna walks up, touching the space where the doppelganger was moments ago. What the fuck? So like, Leo is completely oblivious to this, but everyone else is seeing this just fine. She reaches down, grasping her wrist and checking her pulse, pinching herself a few times while she's at it. Was I drugged? You saw that too, right, Chase? I nod, trying to speak, but only a croaking sound comes from my throat at first. I cough, then I try again. I saw it. I think that was the thing from my dream. Oh no. No, 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 no! Jenna turns and walks toward the bathroom door. God, Chase, don't say that. The thought clearly appears to unnerve her. I'm sorry, but that was real. There has to be an explanation for whatever that was. I'm ready to start looking for hidden cameras here. I glance down at my suitcase and spot the familiar orange hardbox container that I keep my camera equipment in. If only I had gotten whatever that was on film. I exhale, not noticing that my legs are still shaking. It's all so familiar. We should probably get out of here. Agreed. I'm going to grab my stuff and pack your trunk. You think we should leave? Yes. I need to get back to Puebla and take a few mental health days. We'll finish packing up TJ and drop Leo off at the clinic. His dad can take him home later. Leo picks at his freshly wrapped bandages. Why did it touch him? I need to find Carl. Jenna says nothing to Leo's insistence, the fennec shoving her dirty clothes into a garbage bag. Leo, I don't really know what more we can do. I'll handle it, and then you can come back. His red eyes meet mine for the first time in a while, and I'm struck by the level of compassion in them. For a second, it reminds me of the best moments of our relationship. With my heart still thudding in my ears and my legs still weak, I managed to force a smile towards the dazed wolf. Right, of course. Doctor first, though. I'm about ready to check myself in, too. He cants his head, peering at me curiously. I'll find Carl. Don't worry. There's knocking at the door on the window. Awkward taps followed by crooning, a falsetto voice. Carl! I found Carl! It makes Jenna and I jump, both of us freezing in place. Who's there? Leo asks sleepily. It's me, Micah! More knocking, this time a little harder. Micah? Leo blinks, suddenly seeming more awake. He clutches the end of the bed, pushing himself up to his feet. The wolf is a little wobbling, his tail swaying behind him as he tries to keep his balance. Yeah, it's me. Open the door. There's something off about his voice. I don't think it's him. Leo steps forward toward the window and draws the curtains before I can tell him to stop. The familiar outline of the bat's massive ears pokes up over the bottom of the sill. He's crouched down like he's afraid to be seen. Jenna steps up beside me, watching on from a distance. Micah lifts his head a little, and I notice this strange expression on his face, like he's not fully awake. There's also something attached to the scruff of his neck. The bat's face, his snout, is squarely against the window. Blood squirting from his nose and coating both the pane and his face. Oh, fuck! Oh, God, Leo, get back! Micah slips aside, falling out of sight as the figure who's making the voices reveals himself. It's Brian. The bear rams open the door, bits of splintered wood from the frame showering the carpet. Leo, get back! Leo turns to face him just as something metal strikes across his face. I don't hear the impact, but Leo crumples the same. He points the thing at me now, and I realize quickly it's a gun. He smiles at me for a second, approaching me next. I try to back up, but there's nowhere to run. He grabs me by the shirt, and I feel my body swing around. Don't you fucking... Oh. The coyote latches onto my shoulder, yanking me back. Something hard smacks into my skull and I feel my mind rattle. I lurch away, essentially butt-bumping into the coyote as my ears ring from the prior below. TJ's still on the ground, crying, covered in booze as the bullies around stand around him. My movements go sluggish, and it's like I've become a zombie, shambling toward the door as my vision blurs. Oh, is this another origin story? Is this what being knocked out feels like? I clench my fists and keep up my pace, trying to blink the blurriness away. Eventually I reach the entrance. Carl? Leo? As I reach the outside, my knees lock and I drop to the concrete. The impact rattles my bones as I catch myself with my wrists, just barely managing to avoid falling directly on my muzzle. I take a deep breath. I'm still conscious. At least half conscious. I continue crawling, trying to ignore the throbbing pain. Carl! Shouting now, my voice starts to sound foreign to me. Shrill, childlike, pathetic, and increasingly hoarse. Leo! My voice shouldn't be this croaky. I barely talk today. I'm in the middle of the road now. Where's Carl? I should get out of here before a car comes. Pull myself along the asphalt, feeling my skin scrape beneath my fur. I want to stand, but I'll probably just fall again. As I keep crawling, rolling over into what seems like some sort of detention basin, I stare up into the sky, fighting the sudden fatigue and gritting my teeth through the pain. At first I think it's blood that got into my eyes, but upon rubbing them, I realize that isn't the case. The sky is different, like someone slapped one of those colored gel mat filters all over it. The hell? I rub my eyes again, attempting to focus. I can't stay here. TJ is in some deep shit. Those idiots, those assholes. Sucking in a sharp breath beneath my teeth, I rise to a stand, praying my knees don't lock up again. Find Carl, find Leo. I stumble out into the detention basin, feeling packed soil beneath my feet. It's a dirt road. Looking behind me, I realize I must have crawled farther away than I thought. Parsons looks over a mile away. That can't be right. I see a van ahead. It looks rusted and old, but there's a light on the inside. I step stiff-leggedly down the roadways, reaching the bend to where the vehicle sits. Oh no. It's the same redness that the sky is tinted with pulsates from the interior. Is that the van that we... Oh, that's probably the van. I try to speak, but no words come from my throat. It's like a dream. I want to do the rational thing and announce myself, but I can't. This stuff isn't Route 65? Holy crap. It is the van. I move closer, peering to the dusty back window. Inside the window is another window, and that window a little red dot in the corner, flashing on and off. And the window within a window, there's a writhing flashes of fur contorted and undulating in constant restless motion. Something's trying to hold it in place. I hear a clap and cry. The clapping continues, louder now, rhythmic yet singular applause. This is what you want, says the voice and cried. I stare slowly, finding the will to speak. No, I need to help my friends. Do you know where they are? The voice shifts some, more urgent. We heard gunfire coming from the town. It's real bad. Gunfire? I didn't hear anything. Please, help me find my friends. We can't find them now. We need to go. They're lost. No, they're not. I'll keep looking. I'll keep looking myself. We're just going in circles. I feel tears well within my eyes, a lump in my throat containing a choked sob. Please. The van's back door's open. I'm standing too close and it pushes me onto my back. The red light is gone now and it's replaced by darkness, shifting shadows within. I see them now. Tarantulas, their 8-legged fuzz with white and rust-colored stripes. They're on me with haste, 2 of them, one on each of my arms. They bite so hard so quickly and I can't yell. They tug and pull at me, another pair of my legs. I pulled up on into the van, my body stretched up into a squishy something that begins to sink against my arms and legs. There's no more light, and I stare paralyzed at what I think is the ceiling of the van in the pitch blackness. It feels like restraints are binding me in place. I try to adjust my eyes to the darkness, but everything seems blurry and unclear. My head throbs like a heartbeat, the pangs of pain unrelenting. My fur bristles. Where did the spiders go? Like they're bleeding through. Yeah. Breathing has become more difficult, as if the oxygen in the van was running out. I feel the veins in my neck bulge as I try to grasp for large breaths, but my body's not my own. Lights seem to pop as the ringing in my ears intensifies. Something's above me, I can sense it. There's a garbled muttering coming forth from it. It's spoken through a poorly tuned AM radio. It sounds like me. You knocked him out? I swear I barely touched him, man. Fucking pants on. Dude, just go. Leo. I go before he wakes up. I'll see you, party. Goes quiet. Then after a few more seconds, Chase, Chase, Chase. The voice changes. This time the voice is throbbing within my head. Have you ever killed anyone? Oh, jeez. Oh, God, we're back here. Oh, no. Chase. I heard my name once again and I lean forward, only to find my head pounding and something metal around my neck. Chase. Again, my name is spoken, the voice a coarse rasp that sounds somewhat familiar. I blink several times trying to get the blurriness to leave my eyes. They feel puffy, like I've been crying a lot. Sure enough, as I touch my cheeks, I can feel wet stains. I must have wept while I was out. Finally, my vision clears so that I can get a read of my surroundings. It's some kind of trailer with trash and stained clothing scattered about everywhere. Most of it's beer bottles on old TV dinner packages, with a few stacks of vintage science magazines and newspapers along the back wall. Dishes and junk are piled high along the length of the counter and it smells like cigarette smoke. Brian must have brought me here. Maybe this is his place. As the reality of the situation sinks in, I quickly try to stand up, but the sudden tugging on my throat pulls me back down. I clutch at it and realize it's some kind of metal collar which is keeping me pinned to the wood paneled wall. Chase! This time I turn around and crane my head back to identify the source. It's Carl! My heart leaps, but stops cold once I notice the position he's in. The Ram's on some kind of table with bindings around his neck, wrists, and fetlocks. The Ram cranes his neck in what looks like a painful fashion to me. His eyes are puffy and bloodshot, far beyond his usual pink-hued, drug-induced haze. He's been crying a lot. Carl! I exclaim, my voice a half-whisper and a half-shout. He's been with them since the birthday. So that's like Tuesday, right? What's going on? You really Chase? His voice is weak and it's crackling with enunciation. I can see the veins in the Rag's neck bulge through his thin fur while he tries to speak. What? Of course it's really me. Did Brian nab you too? Shakily, the Ram nods his head, his horns making clanking noises against the wood table. It's all a fucking nightmare, dude. I can't tell what's real anymore. Everything's fuzzy. He squints his fists, then wrenches his wrists back, trying to worm his way out of the bindings. He keeps coming by and tightening the wrap around my neck, until I can only get a tiny bit of air. After a few minutes I start to see lights popping, and everything goes all dark and grainy, over and over again. It's at that point I notice there's something hanging above him on the ceiling. A mirror. Ornately framed with gold trim and pinned up with rusty metal stakes. It's so starkly fancy and out of place considering the rest of the trashy interior. Jesus. You only had to be with a few hours in Leo's route. I hate to know what happened in days. That's right, because we were trapped here in Leo's route, but Carl wasn't there, right? Because we were the ones that were on that table with the mirror. I'm strained against the collar around my neck, trying to get a better look at my own bindings. It's hard to see, but this collar looks like it's bolted to the wood panel walls on both sides of my neck. Haphazardly too, as it jiggles whenever I shift too hard. At the same time, the edges of the collar are not exactly smooth. Man, dude, that's freaky. That's really freaky, and I love it. I feel like if I yank too quickly, the metal would cut into my own neck. Are the cops coming? I just want to go home, man. I share the sentiment, though right now I'm just trying to get my bearings. The edge of my forehead where Brian hit me still throbs with pain every couple of seconds. There's no air conditioning here either, and I can't help but feel like I'm sitting in a hot car that smells like a dumpster. There's a pungent aroma of body odor mixed with something kind of like rotting fruit. Every breath I take just brings more of that scent into me, until I can practically taste it on my own tongue. Excuse me. I don't know. I finally respond. Carl's heart visibly sinks. His eyes are darting around the room before finally setting in on something to my right. Leo? I blink and delicately try to turn my head to peer beside me. Crumpled on the floor, bound in a similar type of bondage to my own is Leo, and he's still unconscious. His lip is split and a little bit of blood is pooled onto the gray carpet. Fortunately, he's still breathing, the big chest of his still rising and falling in a slow rhythm. It looks like he took that strike earlier mainly on his muzzle. Hopefully that means his head itself didn't take too much of the brunt, which undoubtedly would worsen the hell out of his concussion. Leo, wake up. I hear him grunt softly like I just disturbed him from a pleasant nap. His eyes already seem like they're half open, so whether he's truly sleeping right now isn't clear. Stretching out, I could just barely manage to nudge him with the tip of my tail. Leo, come on! Another soft groan. He looks beat up. Carl rasps. Yeah, Brian beat him pretty bad. Twice. Oh. Orange-tinted sunlight seeps in from between the slats of the closed blinds across the room. Ooh. It must still be daytime out, but just barely. I wonder why Jenna isn't here. Maybe she got away. Outside, there's a pronounced puttering noise drawing closer. It vibrates the room we're in slightly. There's the faint noise of oldies music that carries along with it. A car. Maybe an old pickup truck. Carl goes quiet, listening as well. Next, voices. They sound terse, argumentative. Going after your fucking sister? One says, higher-pitched in pain. They brought it in on themselves. Clint. Leo was right. He was involved. Fucker. What do you think he's gonna do to him? Jeremy's voice comes through less annoyed than the other two. He sounds almost afraid. Same thing he did to Keith, you manky fuck. So Brian killed him! That high-pitched voice, it's Micah. Oh fuck, at least he's alive. You don't know that. Yeah, shut the fuck up, Micah. Don't disrespect about that sort of conspiracy shit now. You done screwed several pooches and I ain't covering for you. You don't know shit. I hear another car pull up, this one with a much quieter engine. Carl visibly tenses, seemingly recognizing the sound. It's him, dude. Car door slams and the voice is silence. Hello there. Bit of a day, huh? The silence continues for a while until Brian speaks up again. After you. Clint makes a little irk in the door to the room where it opens. The ringtail enters, his composure far more timid than I'm used to. He blinks when he sees Leo and I bound to the wall, staring at the two of us wordlessly. Go on. What was it that you were going to tell me? Brian enters in after him, the hulking bear having to duck to fit through the doorway. Carl quickly closes his eyes, trying to pretend he's asleep. The bear's focus remains entirely upon Clint, with Clint looking like he's practically withering under his gaze. I think Duke said he was going to be here in a couple of minutes. Apparently folk are gathering in town hall wondering what's going on. The bear glances back over his shoulder, then extends an arm out through the doorway, grabbing something. I struggle to turn my head enough to see what. Let go! Jenna's tone is cold, completely curt despite the circumstances. Fortunately, she doesn't look too beat up beyond her fur being a little tousled. Brian's holding her by her arm, and tightly due to judging by the wince on her face. Her stony demeanor visibly fades as she sees the three of us bound up. This is barbaric! Brian ignores her comments, dragging her across the stained carpet to an old radiator in the corner. With some errant chain, he gets to work tying her to it. She seems to be getting spared the neck choker treatment. You mentioned there were others with them? The cat boy and Mayor's cocksucking nephew, right? TJ and Flynn, yeah. Flynn, right. I know him. He's the one with the big bottom. Clint rubs his scabbed arms, looking anywhere but Brian. I don't know. He quickly tries to shift the direction of the conversation. Duke was talking about him. Wants to bring him in too? Cause he's got some incriminating stuff on their phones? That works for me. Hey little Jerry, what you doing out here? Bringing in the last one. Sure enough, Jeremy sheepishly enters the room with his paw on Micah's shoulder. The bat's trembling, walking with a limp and a swollen nose. Jeremy looks at Jenna for a moment, flickers shock on his face after seeing her and the rest of us in such a sorry state. You guys are such shit. It's finally happening. You're all gonna turn on me just like that? Succumb to it? Hey man, you're the one who started trying to kill our boss with a wrench. That sounds like an awful lot like succumb to it to me. He killed Keith! Dude, no he didn't. You just hallucinating. Brian lets out an indiscernible noise from the other side of the room, finishing up the bindings around Jenna's ankles. Brian seems like he's in his element, as if the whole kidnapping business is about as strenuous as a trip for groceries. However, the mention of Keith does elicit a visible tensing of the bear. Don't appreciate that kind of disingenuous assertion. Look, you need to chill out here. Smoke some weed or something. That's the trick to make it go away, right? Oh yeah, we're gonna get real high right it out, little fellas. Brian smiles, showcasing his broken teeth. You got nothing to fret over. The rotund Fennec pulls out a phone from his pocket. One looks like the bird and Micah showed me earlier. Still can't get a hold of Heather. We gotta look for her too, man. Clint, who'd been unusually quiet, snaps to him to attention as he realizes Jeremy's talking to him. Huh? We'll check her boss place then. Oh, you going there? Take Carl with you. I might need the rack. Only been a few days and I almost got him trained already. Trained? Shouldn't be too much of a flight risk. I look at Carl, who's still trying to pretend he's asleep. He's not doing a very good job and I can still see his legs shaking. Not that I'd be able to do any better in his position. Clint, without a word, moves to the table and fastens each strap and buckle as if he were personally familiar with each. He pulls out the ram's soiled and slightly bloody tank top. Come on, he mutters. Carl complies, his fetlocks nearly buckling beneath him as his hooves touch the ground for the first time in a long while. He doesn't dare look back at the rest of us, keeping his gaze down. Good boy. Brian rumbles, grinning to himself, as Carl flinches. Clint pulls something that shimmers in the faint light out of the back of his hands. It takes me a minute to realize it's a gun. He presses the metal of the barrel against the ram's spine, his linking finger hovering over the finger. Seeing the ringtail step out and push open the door, I notice Carl's not the only one shaking now. Clint's own hand shivers fiercely, like any second he might accidentally squeeze his finger back. I try not to make any sudden noises, keeping my already strained breath shallow. This is so fucked. The two shuffle out without further word. Jeremy moves to follow them, but hesitates for a moment, looking back at Jenna. Jess, wait this out, yeah? I'll be back. Just go. Jenna seethes. Her words are like ice, as if any more of the fat FedEx rationalizing would make her physically ill. Jeremy thins his lips, standing there, big and gormless-like. He finally reaches down into his pocket and withdraws a joint and a lighter. Whatever he's got, it's potent, and I can smell it from all the way across the room. He ducks his head down, turning to follow Clint and Carl out to the truck. See you guys. Eat shit, bitch. Jeremy makes a concerted effort to not react to the bat's sputtered jab, and disappears out the doorway. Brian makes his way over to the door and gently closes it behind them. Slowly he turns his head back towards us. A light smile crosses his muzzle. As his dark eyes meet Micah's own, his grin widens. Hey, Micah. Micah opens his mouth to speak, but nothing comes out. The bat just gulps wordlessly as Brian walks over and socks him in the chest. The little bat doubles over, nearly cracking his skull on the edge of the kitchen countertop on his way down. Janet gasps. See, this one would think you're prissy. God-loving folks would have taught you some proper manners when around guests. The bear squints down at the crumpled bat, inspected to see if he did any real serious damage. At the very least, Keith shoulda. Brian leans down, expecting some sort of profanity-laden quip from the bat, but he's met with silence. Micah's furred form heaves, his maw is stretching open wide against the dirty linoleum in a dry retch. The bear continues to watch over him like this, nudging him gently with his foot. No one says anything, and I can see Jenna doing her best to not draw attention to herself. It's a quiet It's a quiet malaise which throbs like my pulse, pounding against the too tight restraints. Finally, he speaks. That's right, faggot. The bear gets to rifle through one of the mildewy kitchen cabinets and withdraws a pair of fuzzy white handcuffs. They're the kind of thing you'd see at one of those edgy mall gift shops with some bondage play. Regardless of their intended use, I can see the glint of metal beneath the fur. They seem pretty solid. He fastens one of the cuffs around Micah's thin wrist and opens one of the cabinets beneath the sink. With a quick tug, he jerks the bat's arm into it. There's a sound of clinking metal, and the other cuff is fastened. He must be securing them against the plumbing. Micah resists none of this, fearing further retribution from the bear. I've had a bit of scorpion problem under there. Make sure to not get stung. Brian's about to say something else, but stops as he spies something out the window. One moment. The bear hustles outside without further word. Micah clutches his stomach, saying nothing. Jenna doesn't either. The only sound is the quiet groaning of Leo and the clinking of metal on metal as we fiddle with our restraints. At that moment, I hear soft mumbling in the distance through the thin walls of the trailer. I freeze and hold my breath. It's a little ways off, but I'm almost positive that it's Duke. The high weaselly whine mixed with the occasional smoker's cough is unmistakable. It's coming closer and I can start to make out what he's saying. Because we're already fucked here. Think we could just let him go and it'll all be fine? I don't know who he's talking to, but the sound of an accompanying heavy lumbering step gives me an idea. It's worth it though if we can figure out what the fuck is going on. It sounds like they're right up against the trailer now. I can hear them walking around it, towards the small door on the right side of the kitchen. Leo ain't saying shit yet, but I think it might be the otter. He's the one I seen last week. The footsteps stop in front of the door and I listen hard, my heart pounding in my chest. Hope you haven't done anything to him. Beyond what you've already done, that is. Was protecting my property the first time. Haven't done nothing further. Brian's uncharacteristically high-pitched voice sends a chill up my spine, my fur flaring out with it. Bet your ass you haven't. If you do any more of your fucked up shit to these kids... I stop breathing, staring at the ends of my feet. What I'm saying is that we still got a chance to get out of this. What we've done is bad enough, but if we can get him to understand... They stop talking, and that's when I can hear Brian's heavy labored breath. I'm not breathing at all. I wonder if they're able to hear it, even though they already know I'm here. I let it out with a gasp as the door suddenly swings open and Duke comes up the steps, looking around before spotting the lot of us. Brian, you are one sick fuck. I tense up as the massive shadow appears behind him and it feels like the entire trailer tips a bit as Brian makes his way up the same steps. Brian's presence is so imposing and frightening that I don't even notice that Duke is right now next to me. I jump when he sets my hand on my left arm. I jerk my head to look at him, wide-eyed. Hey, calm down, we ain't gonna hurt you. Brian chuckles and Duke shoots him a look. He turns his attention back to me, softening his expression, at least as much as he can with his scraggly, drunk, fucked face. Just need to get some information from you. I open my mouth to speak, but that's all that comes out is a dry squeak. Brian chuckles again and makes his way to stand by right. I cringe away from him and his stench of old sweat as he grins down at me with his yellow teeth. Despite all the others being here, the two seem especially focused on me. Brian, get some fucking water. Brian looks at Duke with a strange face before turning back to the kitchen. Hey, don't worry about it. I know this thing. Duke taps the metal collar on my neck with a finger. It looks bad, but we just gotta hold you here for a bit. The boys are queer, they like it. And the girlie's probably just like your wife. Jenna's silent, daring to not provoke the two. Duke glares at him as Brian comes back to the kitchen with a ceramic mug. You're queer too. Brian visibly bristles and his face loses any of the sick humor it once had. Duke clears his throat. Things have been happening here. We want to find out why. What? Duke furrows his brows like a kid trying to figure out something difficult. You see, people ain't right in the head here. No shit. Duke seems to immediately read my thought process because he holds up his hands and shakes his head. Yeah, I know. What we're doing ain't exactly right in the head either. Brian gives his dumb chuckle again, but if I keep my face averted from him, partly because I can't really stand the smell. But we're all a little fucked up here. I'm talking about something else, like what's been going on with the townsfolk. Bad dreams, strange behavior, sound familiar? I shift a little as I'm reminded about the past few days. Duke looks genuinely concerned. I look at the weasel's waistband and immediately see the handgun tucked in his pants there. I was hoping to stop it before any of this happened, but now... Wait, does he? Oh, yes he does. Everything's gone to shit. Brian finishes for him, and I can feel him move closer to the platform I'm laying on. Again, I avoid eye contact, not wanting to provoke him in any way. Yep, and it's only gonna get worse. Duke looks at me like that's all the information I need. I don't know what you're talking about. I see a twitch of irritation in Duke's face as I hold my breath. I mean, what's happening out there? Duke shakes his head. Well, what's happening everywhere? Duke looks back at the window suddenly, his fur standing on end. I look too, but all I see are the leaves and branches, late afternoon sun filtering through them. Duke's quiet for a while before he starts speaking up again without turning around. Happened to my granddaddy, my daddy, and now it's happening to me. I close my eyes, wondering if Duke is just as crazy as Brian. If he is, I doubt he even has a clue of what he's doing right now. Dale's missing, Cynthia drove off into the desert. Duke turns around to look back to Micah. Saw your cat friend screeching about on the river road to the north. Heather? She had a little revolver, started pointing it at me and telling me to get out of my truck. Micah's brow furrows slightly, but otherwise he says nothing. I tried calming her down, but she wasn't having it. Even fired off a shot in the air before taking my keys and heading off toward her pop's place. Girl was on a warpath. Haunted. Thing is, we all got something after us. Something bad. Won't let you leave when it starts. What's after you? I flinch as Brian speaks above me, leaning down towards my face. I don't... Oh, Jesus. Sorry, chat. Allergies always get really bad whenever I'm streaming. Okay. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Bullshit! I flinch again as Duke's concerned demeanor immediately drops away. Why do you think we came to get you at all? He pauses like I should already know the answer. He sends Micah here, who's already succumbing something fierce to his own demons. Bitch. Michael mumbles from across the room and I can see Duke's fur bristle. I feel myself starting to panic again with these two crazy hillbillies looming over my body. I don't know what... Duke slaps me and I gasp in shock. Hey! You shut your fucking mouth before I stop your jawing. Brian snaps back at Jenna before refocusing his attention on me. I saw you hanging around this fucking town before you even got here, late at night looking around. I'm still cringing for the slap and I keep my eyes closed as if not seeing any of this is going to make it stop. Then once all your friends get here, all hell breaks loose. You think that's a fucking coincidence? It's quiet for a moment and all I can hear is the rush of my blood in my ears. Is this really happening? I feel Duke touch my arm and I flinch in fear. Hey. I feel like he wants me to look at him, so I slowly open my eyes, tears splitting out as I do. The blurry shape of Duke dances in front of me. I'm not saying you did it or that you wanted it to happen. I don't say anything because I still don't know what he's talking about. But I know I can't tell him that. It's just that you gotta know something. Anything that we could stop this. Duke starts to pet my arm in a shiver. Brian is breathing heavily next to me and a glance at him that shows his expression is more interested now, almost eager. I think about Leo sleeping over next to me. I want him to cry out to help him, though what could he do beyond get himself hurt more? I'm utterly hopeless, squirming in my own skin. Duke still hasn't answered my question. Makes no sense that they go so far as to kidnap us. But why? Why didn't you just ask us? Why all of this? I lift my hands weakly, making the platform rattle. Duke's face darkens. Because I've been asking Leo all week what the fuck you guys are doing, and he wouldn't say shit. Saw you all snooping around the Hendricks place, and he attacked me when I confronted him. You just stood there looking out the window with that same condescending look you bunch have always had. He glances to each of us. Duke stops petting my arm and scratches behind his head. And, by someone told me that you would know. I stare at him. Who? Someone I know, and it makes sense. Something bad happens, and if you don't fix it, it won't stop coming after you. I shut my eyes and almost sob. It says they know, and I thought it had to be Leo or you, considering what we've seen in these past few weeks. Oh, excuse me. Or maybe it's one of your other friends. He looks over toward Jenna. She's silent. I don't know what you're talking about. I wait for another slap, but it doesn't come. I open my eyes again, and Duke is looking back out the window. We kind of protected you, too. I stare at the back of his head. Things are getting worse out there, and if we don't figure something out soon, we're all gonna die. Duke's voice is dead and distant. Brian, though, touches my other arm and it gasps, shrinking away. He's smirking down at me, looking at my stomach or crotch, somewhere around there. Brian, stop! Duke has turned back around, looking over at me at the bear. We're not getting anywhere right now, and I gotta get to town hall. Even though Duke is the last one that hit me, I'm terrified at the thought of us being left alone again with Brian. Duke sees my face. Don't worry, Chase. Even though you're lying to us, I don't plan to let this pervert have his way with you. Brian snorts. Brian knows what will happen if he does. Duke gives Brian a cold, callous stare, and this time Brian doesn't give his stupid grin back. But you better fall in line and think real hard about what you're really doing here, Chase, because I'll be back. Duke heads for the door, turning to look over his shoulder. Just feed them and make sure they don't escape. That's it. I'll need your keys. What? Brian snarls. Heather took my truck, remember? He'll get it back. Brian seethes through his large black nostrils, and I'm strangely reminded of Leo reciting to Jenna's chiding earlier. With a grumble, he fists around in his sweatpants pocket. He takes a brass key from his keychain and pushes it into Duke's outstretched palm. Thank you. And with that, Duke briskly disappears out the door, a golden flash of late afternoon light illuminating the dim trailer. Brian and I listen to the weasel's soft, anxious footsteps receding to the distance. As soon as the sound is gone, Brian stands up. I turn my head in time to see him whirl around and smash his fist into the wall. I jump as much as I can in my restraints before he does it again, this time slamming both of his fists against the wall. Fucking faggot! The bear shoves his remaining keys into a drawer on the other side of the kitchen. He exhales loudly, staring at the wall and muttering something I can't quite make out. Brian remains motionless as he does so, unmoving as the minutes pass by. It's unnerving, but a welcome respite from the aggression being taken out on us. There's a window in the corner of the living room area that's mainly covered by an old wooden bookcase. There's no books in it, just mainly stacks of ashtrays, empty plastic bottles, and old appliance manuals. However, the top two shelves are littered with knickknacks. It takes me a second, but I actually recognize a few of them as prizes for the Southwestern Adventures. I'm reminded of the stuff Gryphon and I have smushed in my suitcase back at the motel. If only we'd have packed up and gone when we had the chance. Some other keepsake stuff back in there as well. Lots of stuff from the Blue Diamond Casino on the reservation. Travel cases, poker chips, camera satchels, and even a mug with a smiling blue diamond and Masetta War Chief headdress. It reads Chief Daddy in big bold lettering. Is Brian a father? The idea seems unlikely. Brian stands on his tiptoes and peers out the window, the little bit of window still visible over the top of the bookcase. There's a faint popping sound in the distance, like the 4th of July fireworks cracking off. Wrong kind of daddy, yeah. I would not let this man come near me with a 10-foot pole. Also 4th of July, that's also coming up soon. Can't imagine why anyone would be celebrating at a time like this. But probably not fireworks. Brian flinches, a soft frown crossing his burly features. Huh. He hums to himself, a brow furrowed as he takes a seat in a fading corduroy recliner, turning it in place to face us. His eyes shift over to me for a moment, and it's like he wants me to say something. I swallow, my mouth is dry as a bone as I begin to speak. You think... Do you think those were gunshots? What about your friends? Yeah. Don't be. You should be the worried ones. He smiles a big toothy grin, composed of what few teeth he has remaining. Oh. There's something familiar about his face now. My mind flashes with images of that smile peering at me through the end of my bed. Could it have been one of those countless night terrors I see when my body was still frozen in sleep? Unable to move, just like I am now. Except this is real. His gaze shifts to the rack in the mirror beside me, and he's quiet for a while. He suddenly smacks his lips. Keith, he truly was the best of us. Got me wondering what he'd do if he was around now. Let us go. Micah's quick gunfire response elicits a solemn grunt from Brian. You know damn well that's what he'd do. Golden rule. Ha, so I should hit you with a wrench too then. Got one around here somewhere. Bat promptly stops talking as the bear starts looking around with the clutter best that is his trailer. Brian eventually stops, smirking to himself in a strange, nasally fashion. Fucking psycho. So you want to talk about Keith, huh? Well, alright. Micah doesn't speak this time, letting the bear mull about. First, you gotta understand that I see things. I reckon everybody here does. Just a lot of folk don't like to admit it, or don't have it as bad. When I see it, I smell it. I fear it, hear it, taste it, all 6 senses and what have you. When I was a kid in Peyton, I didn't see shit. Even thought I had a pretty fucked up childhood. My mom left when I was 6 because my dad was a piece of shit. But you know she was a piece of shit for leaving me with him. Anyway, you know when my dad told me she gone? No one says anything until Brian turns to look back down at Micah expectantly. I don't know. Brian cackles at a sense of chill up my spine. That aliens had taken her. I pressed myself deeper into the wall, wishing I could just disappear in the wood paneling. I think he must have been drunk or high or both, but stuck with me, you know? I look away, trying to make myself look small and avoid any unnecessary eye contact with them. Then, when I was a teenager, got myself a boyfriend, more of a fuck buddy. We kinda hated each other. I can feel it looking between Leo and I now. I have a feeling the bear is aware of our former relationship. At least it felt like that sometime. Fucking wouldn't leave me alone, no matter how much he was saying I disappointed him. Gotta be my best self or whatever. Talked too much, but he was a good fuck and the only faggot I knew, so I came here every other week or so to fuck him. Things got a little better between us, and he convinced me to help him out with restoring this old bar off of 65. It's a complete shithole, but he loved his vices. Booze, drugs, fucking. Peddling all that was like a dream to him. Then something weird happened on one of my trips out there when he wasn't around. I remember the moon was red that night because of the forest fires out west. I kept looking at it. That's when I saw a flying saucer. One that's straight out of a cartoon with lights and a dome thing on top. Hi, Pup Juno. Welcome on in. The Blep welcomes you. Happy evening. Happy to have you with us. Wait, I couldn't believe it, but there it was floating through the sky. And you know, even though it looked stupid as fuck, I knew. I saw it. It wasn't fucking evil. I just knew it. Brian finally looks down at me again. That night, and almost every night after, I'd wake up and couldn't move, and the aliens would be around my bed. There was this one alien that I knew was my mom. She didn't look like my mom. She looked like an alien. But I just knew it was her, and she'd do these things to me. Sometimes to my mouth, and my eyes, and nose. Usually to my... torture me, and it felt fucking real. Brian chuckles, still staring at Leo and I. Fucked me up good, and I blame my boyfriend for it. Bringing me to Echo, because I was sure that's where the evil came from. I outed him that year. Skull fucked him when his mom was still home and got caught, so I had to leave town because of it. Micah's lightly fuzzed face seems to lose some color to it at that. His wide eyes shifted to the linoleum beneath him. The massive bear shakes his head. Didn't stop the dreams, though. So he just left us all behind then? Oh no. Brian straightens up in his chair, creaking loudly. He stuck around the res on the account of him being Meseta and all. Found him at a gay bar. What does that mean? It means I have an idea. Brian stands up from his seat and disappears into one of the back bedrooms. He calls back to us. Something to pass the time with. Was saving this for Clint, but he's been keeping scarce lately. He comes back with what looks like a step stool, a medical satchel, and a whip? Upon closer inspection, it's not a whip, but a noose with little bits of metal embedded around the edges. Razor blades. Exopierce. We are playing Echo by the Echo Project. It is a furry horror novel. Well, psychological horror novel, and this game lasts for hours and hours on end. So we are on Route 4, I believe? If I remember correctly. Yeah, I think this is Route 4, and we are on the last route. Well, we are on the last story route right now, which is Jenna, and apparently there's a side route. Like, we're on a choice that we chose from a previous decision that leads us to another ending. So we're on one of those right now, so we might have to replay those. A noose with fucking razor blades. What the fuck? Brian gets to work tying it up to a conspicuous hook on the kitchen ceiling. Yeah. Carl? Leah? Carl. Oh shit, no, this is the fifth path, I'm sorry. He's incredibly quick with tying the knot, like he's done this 1,000 times before. I can feel my heart pounding on my ears, each blade on the noose glinting with what little light there is in the trailer. I try to crane my neck to look at Jenna, but I'm still having trouble seeing her. Brian smiles down at Micah, bending down and taking the bat's cuffs just off his... No, he isn't. What the fuck are you doing? Shut up, it'll be okay. Be calm and don't struggle. Brian's voice reminds me of children's show presenters with the squeaky, reassuring cadence. The context of his words makes it deeply unsettling, and I struggle against my collar restraint whenever he's turned away. I have to get out of here. Brian sits down the stool quite squarely beneath where the noose is hanging. Step onto the stool. He's short enough so this will actually work. You're fucking crazy! Micah reels back away from him, but Brian grabs him by the hand. He starts bending it inward, and the bat squeals into pain. Okay, you either do what I say, or I'm gonna start breaking every joint in your body, alright? Micah continues to shriek, finally wrenching free after nodding. Okay, okay! Put your head through the noose. I can see the turmoil in Micah's face, 1,000 fight-or-flight responses running through his head. The inside of the noose itself don't got any blades, just the outside so you can't be grabbing it. He's gonna be hanging him. Micah stares through the hole in front of him. Do it! He's about to grab for the bat's hand again, but Micah shoves his head through just in time after stepping up on the stool. I'm in. Good. The bear reaches up and tightens the noose more firmly around the bat's neck, looking proud of himself if he does so. He's cinching it hard until it's clear the bat is struggling to breathe. With a smile, he reaches down and tugs off one of the legs of the step stool. Brian chuckles to himself as the bat teeters, Micah nearly kicking the stool away. He just barely manages to keep himself upright, with the tip of his toes catching the edge. His cheeks flare as more of the weight is having to be held aloft by his neck, the string causing his neck veins to bulge. He gasps like a fish for breath, swaying his hips from side to the other to get a more solid standing position. I can see him resisting the urge to grab the noose, an act that would surely strip his fingers to the bone. Brian, meanwhile, chuckles to himself, tickled deeply by the display. There you go. Brian is turned away from me now, but even from this angle it's clear that he's rubbing himself through his sweatpants. Ew! I forgot that he gets off with this shit. This guy is disgusting. This is like the most disgusting character in this entire story. I'm petrified, wanting to scream out to make him stop, but not daring to make a sound. This is what Duke was warning Brian not to do, and he did it anyway. I closed my eyes, praying to see that weasel again, to put a stop to all this. Hey, don't think I forgot about you all. When I opened my eyes again, he's looking directly at me. Well, you two at least. I mean, given a choice of a bunch of guys and one's a girl, what kind of queer would pick the girly? He says the word queer with distaste, the bear beginning to reach into his little satchel. He looks at Jenna as he pulls out what looks like a long spool of string. The others told me you were a bit of a bitch anyway. At least that's what your brother said. I keep expecting Jenna to start speaking, talking him down like full psychoanalysis, but like all those thriller movies. But right now she's completely silent. Leo stirs slightly beside me, mumbling something incoherent. Brian has scissors now and he kneels down in front of us. I begin to feel faint as he points the edge of them toward me with a smile. Instead of cutting me, he begins snipping along the sides of my shorts and underwear, cutting up to the waistband. What are you doing? Micah teeters in the kitchen, letting out a blubbering, choking sound as he struggles for breath. So you, a few weeks ago, you had no eyes. Heard you talking to the empty rail yard, saying that you two need to stay close. Thinking I should oblige that request. What the fuck is up with this spirit? This guy is just crazy, okay? Like, that's the best explanation that I could give you. This guy is just fucking crazy. What? The eyeless chase. The thing we saw earlier? Leo stirs some as I shout, shifting slightly as Brian does the same to his pant leg. Don't worry, I won't get your bits out. He reaches into his little medical bag and pulls out a surgery needle. I think he's supposed to shave the fur a bit before he starts doing this. But oh well. No, please, you don't need to do this. That thing you saw, it wasn't me. I've seen it too. Brian blinks, canting his head slightly. Well, I figured that much, that he wasn't real. You still have your eyes for now, and that goatee. He's pushing our legs together now, and my heart feels like it's in my throat. My vision's starting to blur. What the hell is with that bear? Like I said, Call of Duty, also welcome on it. This guy is insane. I really, like, this guy was made, he had to be created to be, like, the most hated character in this entire game. He is, like, this really, really fucked up masochist, and it's disgusting. Don't squirm now or it turns to joint breaking time. And I can always stitch the other things together. Oh god, no. The needle hits me first at my mid-thigh. I cry out, squeezing my fists against my chest. I want to deck him, punch him, do anything to make him stop. I'm not afraid, but keep up the work. Thank you so much, Call of Duty. Sorry if this is like the first thing that you see tonight on my channel, but this is Echo. Like, they do some seriously fucked up shit to here. And like, this is the kind of storytelling that they do, and it's really, really well done. Like, it makes you want to hate this character, and it makes you sympathize for these people who are trapped here. I yell so loud that I slobber into the front of my shirt, tears again once welling in my eyes. I can feel the metal piece through my skin, far too deep as it tears through the muscle and it tugs back out again. Leo begins to writhe slightly as it goes through his leg, though he doesn't wake. That's one. Stop! I start to feel faint as blood pools from the new holes in my thigh. The needle re-entering properly wakes me up. Fuck! 2. Stop. Jenna speaks from the corner of the room, her voice unlike anything I've heard her before. Quiet. So much so that I don't even know if Brian ever heard her. 3. Micah gasps, wobbling erratically as the blood drips from his left hand. He must have gripped the rope for a second and cut himself. Ugh. Don't fall, kid. Brian calls to Micah before looking back. His allured gaze as he stares directly into my eyes, pushing the needle in again. It's so deep that I'm sure it scrapes the bone, and it's like my whole body's been lit on fire. I don't like furries that are pedos or zoophiles or the cringe ones, but you're nice. Also, please kill me. Like, what am I seeing? You know, Call of Duty, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Pedos and zoos, we do not claim them in this fandom. Despite what people say about furries, we do not claim people like that. And we have plenty of names that we could give a very good example of. Please kill me, like, what am I seeing? You are seeing, well, it's more of like you're being painted a very, very vivid picture. Snot dribbles down my nose. I can't fucking take it anymore. Brian keeps counting. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Leo's writhing has gotten more intense, and each tug of his leg spreads the puncture wounds more. I can't take it. Something begins to move in the corner of the room, in the closet beside the bedroom. I can't tell if it's my blurred vision or whether the door's actually opening. In the kitchen, the stool tips over. Micah's suddenly dangling freely. Oh god. More choked gurgles escape the increasingly red-faced bat. His arms begin to flail wildly at first, and then in a more coordinated rhythm. It takes me a moment to realize that he's batting his wings. He flaps as hard as he can, and finally it looks like he manages to get a gulp of air. His hovering is erratic and never enough to keep him completely suspended. Brian peers over his shoulder, and his eyebrows are raised slightly. Help him! Brian ignores her. Would you look at that? He can fly. The exertion is clearly taxing Micah, and he's still having trouble breathing. Is he pregnant? No, he is undeniably fat. But it doesn't mean that he can fight, because this guy apparently is a massive tank. Like he beat down one of our strongest characters at this game that we surround ourselves with. Is he getting closer to Leo? Not like this. I don't like that we're being stitched together. I'm scared of him. You know what? I'm scared of this character too. Every time I see this character in Echo, like I cringe and I just like sink into my chair a lot more. Like I think it was Flynn's path that we went on, and I think that we did see Brian as well, or it mentioned him, and I just like sunk. I hate this character so much, but like it's just the writers of this game, who, by the way, spent years upon years to develop the entire story for Echo. They've successfully created the most hated like character in this game by making him a torture masochist, and I love the fact that they just executed this in such a way that it makes you hate him, and it's so disturbing at the same time. He looks like a pedo. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he was. His face continues to turn into an unnatural hue. He can't keep this up. Deep hydrate? Okay, bet. There we go. I do need to set up the redeem soon. I haven't ever really set that up yet. Yeah, that's gonna have to be a thing soon. Maybe this weekend. Maybe on Sunday, because I think Sundays and Wednesdays are gonna be the days where I take the day off from streaming. Because I also need to set up like a proper schedule, and this is kind of my way of doing that. So, Wednesdays and Sundays might be my way of like kind of structuring the stream a bit more. Help him! Out of the corner of my eye, the closet door shifts open further. There's something inside. Someone. They're reddish-white color, half cloaked in the shadow. Eyes wide and mouth open. It moves like there's a strobe light behind it. Its motion's choppy and unnatural. It's not like it's moving at all, but rather a series of images projected in front of my eyes, changing every second. Do you watch JoJo? I think I've only seen like a couple of episodes from it, but not entirely. And each second it gets closer. It looks to be as tall as Brian, possibly slender, with arms and legs that look warped and bent. There's no eyes, no mouth, just oh no, it's that thing. It's the outlet face monster. Next thing I know, it's in the kitchen and Micah just drops. The bat hits the floor with a heavy thud, the cut noose still around his neck. Brian sees it now too. He reels back just as soon as it begins to approach him. My god, they're real! Is all he can say before the bear's yanked out. With immense violent force. God damn it, I hate it when my fucking allergies get Worse, in the most intense parts of the story, his body bending like a flicked rubber band. The contents of his pockets, one of his pant legs, and a small chunk of flesh smack against the kitchen wall. The rest of it goes flying out the window along with the figure. My mind immediately thinks back to when I was a kid. I've seen plenty of this stuff, lots of horrible things. But the psychiatrist said that it was normal, that sometimes kids hallucinate. Not like this, though. There's glass scattered all across the stained carpet. Bloodstains dapple the turquoise polka dotted drapes, swaying slightly in the new breeze that comes through the broken window. The allergies are adding to the immersion. Oh my god, I am so sorry. Like, my allergies, for whatever reason, they always kick in whenever I'm streaming. Like, any other time, like, it will, like, I don't care. This is real, right? Past all reasonable doubt, it has to be. The shock of the situation had eclipsed the pain in my leg. That brief respite fades quickly. It's wretched and niggling, being stuck by 20 little bees every couple of seconds. Rivulets of Leo and I's blood pulls together and runs between our connected thighs. I writhe against my restraints, my head spinning and my heart pounding. Every base animalistic neuron in my brain is firing to flee the situation, to make the throbbing stop and just to find safety. But there's nothing I can do but gasp for breath. One eye in the window, the other on the struggling, bleeding silhouette of Micah. My vision blurs, and that's when it refocuses. The bat's up on his knees, and his yellow eyes are wide and bloodshot. He says something. His voice is high-pitched and quaking, utterly indiscernible. At least to me right now. He scrambles onto his hands and knees, coughing and wheezing while yanking over several of Brian's kitchen drawers. Dirty silverware, cooking utensils, and faded yellow receipts shower the floor. The ruckus is immense. I'm sure the thing outside hears it. That is, if it's even capable of hearing. He pulls out another drawer completely out of its socket, and an assortment of bottle openers, chip clips, and twist ties clatter forth. Panting out ragged breaths, his fingers grab something glinting in silver from the new pile. His eyes widened. Keys. For a moment, his gaze trails to the floor, then back to us. He coughs again, swearing some obscenity that I can't fully make out. Scampering along the kitchen to the other side of the room, he begins to use the key on Jenna's restraint. There's a satisfying click and I can hear Jenna gasp. "Thank you," she whispers. Micah wastes no time moving back into my sightline for a moment to reach Leo beside me. "You." Leo moans, seemingly unaware of the bat's presence as a large paw reaches out to touch the bat's soft mane of white fur. Micah stops for a moment, blinking at sometimes at the still definitely out-of-it wolf. Leo's arms go limp again, the bat exhaling a coarse breath, trying to steady his own shaking hand so that he can unlock the wolf's restraint. Jenna quickly heads to the kitchen, grabbing a knife from the torn-out cutlery drawer. "I'll get you out of this in a sec. Just don't squirm, okay?" She looks at me. Her turquoise eyes are wide and glistening. "I'll be fine." Leo murmurs. Jenna doesn't even look at him as she brings the blade between her thighs. The little slice she manages to cut through the first stitch, and a fresh runnel of blood leaks from the puncture points. It's as if the wound was hissing at me. My ears are ringing as I clutch my fists against my chest. "Don't scream. Don't scream." Ah! I whimper as the knife nicks the second, but doesn't quite break the string. Instead it tugs up, widening and piercing the tearing at the skin. Leo stirs and his fists are clenching as his half-lidded eyes try to focus on Jenna. He bares his fangs briefly, trying to stand up. This pulls harder at the stitching, and I can't tell what'll give first, the stitches or the flesh on my legs. I cry out between grit teeth, and Jenna's trying to pin the wolf back down. "Stop moving, you're only making it worse." Jenna tries to cut the stitching faster now. She gets one rung, 2, 3. Fuck off me! I look down and see that Jenna's blade tip had stuck into the wolf's thigh. Even more blood is trickling from the fresh wound. "Just be still." I never heard Jenna so tense. Leo only writhes more, reeling against his restraints with such ferocity that Micah can't undo the lock. "God, just fucking give it to me." The bat stops fiddling with the lock and extends a hand out to Jenna, the fennec turning to look at him. She doesn't move to give him the knife, but she does loosen her grip. Micah doesn't hesitate and plucks it from her within the deftness of a pickpocket. Gingerly, he places the flat of his free hand against Leo's chest, and with the other makes a quick slice between her legs in one motion. The pressure keeping us together is suddenly gone, and I can freely pull my leg away from his. Pain is still immense, but nowhere near as bad. You are so fucking lucky. I look up at the small bat as he moves to unlock Leo's restraint. If I'm lucky, I certainly don't feel like it. Yeah, so are you. The bat lets out a sharp exhale as Leo is freed. Surprisingly, he stands right up, albeit less than steadily. It's still not as entirely clear that he knows where he is. Blood still running down the side of his leg. Micah makes a cautionary step back, but the dazed wolf doesn't appear to be outwardly hostile toward him. In fact, the two meet with each other's gazes for a moment, and Leo sobers slightly. What? He mumbles, bracing himself with a large arm against the wall. As Micah shifts his freeing efforts to me, Jenna nimbly steps around the broken glass and makes her way to Brian's fridge. She pulls open the door, tugging out various foodstuffs in plastic bags. Finally, she pulls out several bottles of water and hurries back over. It's a click. I gasp, holding my throat as I jerk my head forward. Big gulps of air enter my lungs with a refreshing sensation unlike anything I've ever felt. My whole body buzzes with a mixture of pain and relief. Jenna quickly hands me a bottle of water, and I don't hesitate to start chugging it. Well, I try to, and I realize the cap is still on. After rectifying my error, I can see clearly the frazzled look in Jenna's eyes. Her usual cool demeanor is gone, and its place is a deeply unsettled visage that matches how I feel. She briefly looks off to her side, toward the broken window that back to me. Chase, Micah takes 2 of her water bottles, giving one to Leo and one to himself. That thing! Jenna nods. Yeah. Was that the thing you mentioned to me on the hike? Her fur bristles and the fox finding the notion incredibly uncomfortable. I don't know what that was. Something the authorities will investigate later, I suppose. So I wasn't fucking seeing shit? There really was some burnt motherfucker leaping out of the sick fuck's closet? Micah squeezes the bottle, splashing his face with the cold water. Must have been 7 feet tall at least. Burned man? Is that all he was? Just another victim of Brian's cruel tortures, stashed away until now? Think he's still outside? Maybe. Jenna responds with a hushed tone. I doubt Brian's in much of a threatening state, though. Yeah. We all seem to be fixated on the broken window, though none of us are jumping at the chance to investigate more closely. No one except for Leo. I glance over and see the big wolf stumbling forward. His arms are outstretched. His movements are jittery, robotic, and his maw hanging open slightly. His eyes still aren't fully open, yet he grasps the window and still peers into the darkness. He stays there motionless. Seconds pass, at least 10, and he finally turns to face us. I've never seen that before. Leo mumbles. You see anything? Yeah. Micah stares at him bug-eyed. What do you fucking see? Red. Micah sets his water bottle down, picking back up his knife and the contents of Brian's pockets. Alright, fuck this. We're getting out of here. If that person we all totally just saw wanted to do us in, it would have done so. I just want to get a car, get some distance with this place, call the cops on a payphone. He froze his brow at something on the ground before picking it up and shoving it into his shorts. And spend the rest of the night cooped up in one of those 24-hour pancake houses where the waitstaff is always around to watch you. Carl, we gotta save him. Leo blurts this out like a spoken belch. His disoriented eyes seemingly swimming in their sockets as he looks at no one in particular. The notion swells up a knot in my stomach. First fear, then guilt. Carl had been subjected to this for days. Maybe he knows more about the thing in the closet. That's a job for the police. She says that with an initial reassuring tone, though she falters after a moment. Though, those gunshots earlier, we would have heard police sirens by now. I'm assuming the phone service and internet is still down. So let's find a fucking car then. Drive to Payton, rat out those murder-abiding fucks I called friends and never look back. Jenna sighs, closing her eyes for a moment, then nodding. Yeah. That's a sound of an idea as any. Let's go. I'm not seeing any car keys here. Pretty sure Duke has his ride. Gotta save Carl. Now. Leo interjects and Jenna just looks at him dumbfounded. Oh, go right ahead, Leo. She speaks up, gesturing toward the door flippantly. Put back and painted. You go right ahead and tell us how that goes, huh? Leo blinks slowly before again slowly meandering to the door. Wait, what? I try to stop him, wincing at the pain in my leg. Ah, Jesus. I managed to grab his fur, and that staggers him enough to stop for a moment. I wasn't serious. Leo, please, come on. We'll stick together and get this taken care of. Carl. I could feel him pulling away, so I tried to think of something to get him to stop. Leo, man. We need you. I need you. I squeezed his palm briefly, just enough to show him that I'm still here as his eyes close once again. Like a lost child, he squeezes back. The physical contact feels nice, though after being stitched to him, I relieved when he would let go. You two good to move? I take a tentative step, and Jenna takes me by the arm in case I fall. The pain is dizzying, and I have overwhelming urge to just down a bottle of ibuprofen and crawl into a corner. But I can definitely still walk. I'll manage. Jenna smiles faintly at me. I'll help him. Leo, in all of his stupid glory, says nothing as he pulls up at the front door and steps outside into the dark. Micah steps up beside us, his skinny arms folded tightly over his chest. Okay, urgent care for him, and then the pancake house. Now it's Sunday. Oh, but that's lighting up. Okay, I think we're gonna save that there. But holy shit, did we just go through a lot. Let's see. Yeah, so we have all of Carl's now, we have all of Leo's, we have all of TJ's, we have all of Flynn's. There's 3 more scenes from Jenna that we still have to unlock. Oh man, but yeah, I think we are going to end for the night. Oh man, that was a lot to take in. What a ride. We're gonna have to continue this very, very shortly. Like, sometime in the future we have to continue this. Well, I'm gonna call it. I'll see y'all in the next stream. Bye bye.